Hello and welcome. We're back with the big exit poll. The exit poll that all of you have been waiting for. The India Today will dissect the exit poll that really matters, that has got the best track record in the country. And we're going to do it with an election team that has traveled and crisscrossed Bihar over the last month to tell you what will happen in Bihar. Which way is the wind blowing? I'm joined by my colleagues, starting with Gaurav Sawant. He's placed in the center of it all in a way. Gaurav, all set for the big exit poll?
Absolutely, Rajdeep, because this is extremely crucial. Nitish Kumar already has the record of being the longest serving Chief Minister of Bihar. Will he be sworn in the 10th time is that big question, and we'll tell you indications which way is the wind blowing. Preeti.
All right, of course, we'll tell you which way the wind is blowing, but ultimately it will also come down to cutting-edge data analytics. And there's only one place that you need to turn to, and that is the India Today group, where, of course, what has been speculated, Maria, and I'm going to deep dive into the numbers later, is the voter turnout. A lot hinges on the woman vote, and women have come out in unprecedented numbers to vote in Bihar.
And that's right. And just as we think that we know Bihar, based on pure arithmetic, Bihar surprises all. Just as it has done this time around with a remarkable, a historic voter turnout. What does it all mean? And will the pollsters get this election in Bihar right? But first up, the headlines.
Less than 48 hours to go for results day. India Today gets you the big Bihar prediction. The exit poll numbers that really matter coming up in a special 3-hour broadcast. Does the record voter turnout in Bihar indicate pro or anti-incumbency? Who could benefit from the massive Mahila and youth turnout? Also, a massive manhunt has been launched for another car of terror. Police issue an alert for a red EcoSport with registration number DL10CK0458. Police at all border points told to be fully armed. Prime Minister Modi heads straight to the LNJP hospital after touching down in Delhi from Bhutan, meets the injured, reiterates conspirators will pay. A cabinet meeting on security to begin shortly. And more doctors of terror arrested as a statewide crackdown continues across Jammu and Kashmir. 7 doctors taken into custody. Faridabad's Al Falah University clarifies, says taught medicine, not terror in the university. Good evening, hello and welcome. We're 2 days away from V-Day or Verdict Day in Bihar. And you're joining us for our special exit poll coverage. Over the next 3 hours, we'll decode for you what the pollsters' predictions are for Bihar. Which way is the wind really blowing? We'll also keep a very keen eye, as we've said, on the aftermath of the Delhi blast. Gaurav here with me has been tracking every moment of that. The Prime Minister will be chairing a cabinet security meeting shortly, and there's a red alert sounded in the national capital for a red EcoSport that was registered in the suspected suicide bomber Umar's numbers. So the Bihar exit poll numbers and the Delhi blast updates coming your way over the next few hours. Joining me here in the studio, and let me tell you, the table is full, as is the exit pollsters who will actually bring the numbers. These are credible exit polls and not someone just punching in the numbers. So it's been rigorous, and that's why we've taken our time to bring you those details. Rajat Sethi joins us. He's been tracking elections for a long time, has also consulted with a few BJP chief ministers in particular on polling. And has managed their election campaign, so knows a thing or two about elections. Sajjan Kumar has been tracking Bihar for a while now, done a lot of qualitative analysis. He will do a lot of the number crunching for us, particularly on counting day. Next to him is Maria Shakil. I call her Bihar ki beti. She is Patna Women's College. and knows the ins and out of her state. She's been crisscrossing it. Gaurav is here. When he's not at Red Fort, he's in the studio here with us, and he will tell us not just what's happening in Bihar, where he traveled to recently, but also any updates that come on the Delhi blast. Preeti Chaudhary has perhaps traveled more than most right across Bihar. The nooks and crannies brought you stories that other channels have not really brought the other side of Bihar on her election dispatch. So she's got much to offer. Javed Ansari, the veteran of political journalism, has done more than 4 decades of it. Knew Bihar long before even Lalu Prasad and Nitish Kumar were on the scene. So welcome, Javed. You've known them for a very long time. And Manisha Priyam, another beti of Bihar from Chhapra. So great to have such strong women representation, because let me tell you, if there is one thing we are going to look at in Bihar, apart from the caste factor that traditionally is looked at, this time it's the Mahila vote. And in a moment, my colleague Preeti Chaudhary is just going to the election intelligence dashboard to tell you just why the Mahila vote in Bihar has never been more crucial. Remember, we've had a record turnout across male and female, and we'll tell you exactly why that woman vote could be critical. Over to you, Preeti.
All right, Rajdeep, what we're doing is cumulatively looking at all phases. There were only 2 this time around. And one thing is for sure, Rajdeep, if we hark back ever since independence, Bihar has not voted in the sheer might that it has voted this time around. So if we go on to our election intelligence dashboard, and mind you, over the course of the next 3 days, you're going to see so much data analytics coming up and popping up on this screen, and what all is possible is just amazing. But take a look at all the phases, that 2-phase election that happened in terms of turnout. I want to quickly look at the numbers there. Right from 2010, you can see that steady rise in turnout. 2025, it was a whopping 67%. You go a little deeper in terms of the micro data. Second phase has voted more than the first phase. But what many say, the vote of Bihar hinges on and is the Mahila vote, the woman vote. So let's quickly look at the gender breakup this election, and you see it right there on your television screen. It's a whopping difference of 9% where it comes down to between, you can see the blue, we've gone to the traditional stereotypes of markers, so blue is male, the pink is female. But if you see it right from 2010, constantly increasing, the woman pulling away. The last time around, it was a 6% difference, 2020, and many say women were undercounted, and therefore the anomalies, Rajdeep, that we had seen in many exit poll data. But this time around, look at the figure there, Rajdeep, a 9% difference between the women and the men voting percentage.
Just to tell you, the Axis My India poll numbers will be out shortly. We have the first teaser of the Axis My India poll numbers, and these are percentages. We actually have the Axis My India exit poll percentages. It's giving the NDA at the moment 43% of the vote. 43% of the vote as per Axis My India is going to NDA. Mahagathbandhan of the opposition 41%, so very close. 43%, 41%, you would presume 2% is within the margin of error. The Jan Suraj party is at 4%, others are at 12%. Those are the first key details that we are getting. I also, while we put those graphics up for you, want to tell you, to take off from what Preeti said, remember the turnout from women was about 9% more. How does that translate into total number of votes? 2.47 crore men voted in Bihar. Big numbers, keep it in mind. 2.47 men voted, 2.52 crore women voted. So the difference, this is the first time in Bihar's history that women have voted more than men in absolute numbers as well. Average excess votes cast by women is 1,767 per constituency. Why does this matter? Take a look at this. In 2020, in where the seats where women voters exceeded men was 119. Out of the 243 seats in Bihar, 119 women voters exceeded men. The NDA was leading in 72 out of them, that's 60.5%. The Mahagathbandhan in 42, that's 35.3%. So you would expect the NDA to have an advantage from Mahila. But as you can see, even before, Gaurav, you go to the next set, the fact that Pradeep Gupta and Axis have come up with these numbers, NDA 43, Mahagathbandhan 41, is this now turning out to be a very tight race? I know 1% in Bihar can make a huge difference in seats, but a quick response, Rajat Sethi, to the first big numbers coming in the Axis My India exit poll.
2% is a lot. 2% would signify a clean sweep for the NDA. In 2020, when both the vote shares of both Mahagathbandhan and NDA were almost exactly same at 36%, we still saw NDA doing better in terms of seat conversion. Therefore, I have no doubt at all that if these numbers were to hold, it would be a clean sweep for the NDA. With the polling percentage, Rajdeep, let me highlight one fundamental factor as to why the polling percentage, both in women and in men, have gone up. It is because of the SIR exercise. SIR exercise has been able to remove duplicate votes, fictitious votes out of the voting list, which naturally reduces the denominator. If the denominator goes down by 40-50 lakh votes, it naturally has an impact on higher polling percentage. So while there has been an exuberance of voters, there is an over-encompassing factor, which is the SIR, which has reduced the voters and removed certain voters from the list which were fictitious. This is the reason why the voting percentage is record high, as you are seeing this time.
Okay. Do you think, Sajjan Kumar, this is within the margin of error? 43% NDA, 41% Mahagathbandhan, 4% only to Jan Suraj, 12% others. Do you get a sense that these first numbers from the Axis My India poll are within the margin of error? And make it a very close contest as per their poll?
If you go by the polling percentage, then certainly one can say it's not a sweep for NDA. But in terms of 2% for Bihar, wherein you always find constituency level, people say that it's a very close contest. 2% gives a directional clarity, right? And therefore, as far as the directional clarity is concerned, it syncs with the ground feedback that we all were getting. Only discrepancy that we find in this is the others who are getting 12%, because if you see the consistency of others or independents in Bihar, it's in and around 8%, right? So I think this data, 12%, which is going to the other, needs to be factored in. But as far as 2% lead is concerned, I agree with Rajat that it's going to give a directional clarity that NDA is ahead.
Okay, we'll wait and see how this is translating into numbers as per the Axis My India poll. But I want to get in quick comments from Manisha and Javed. Manisha, you first there. Do you get a sense that we are now witnessing perhaps a tough fight if these numbers hold, particularly the Jan Suraj at 4%? Should the Jan Suraj be underpolled by some circumstance, this election could change again.
Let me not get to the pivot point of Jan Suraj, but let me say that at these numbers, at 41 and 43, it still seems like an election which is about Nitish and which is about Lalu. The fulcrum of these elections is still a lot about those who are anti-Lalu and wouldn't want to get him and his ilk back. And it is still about Nitish and those who would want to say thank you, even in the sunset day of politics. Yes, a pivot coming out, but remember, Jan Suraj and Prashant Kishor have their origins in the support that he lended once to Nitish. I do see these numbers as very credible. It did seem like a neck-and-neck fight, but the NDA ahead, and that's what the percentages show here.
You know what, interestingly, last time, both the main alliances were around the 37% mark. So these numbers would suggest a 6% increase in the NDA. Not surprising, because Chirag Paswan and Upendra Kushwaha have joined the alliance compared to 2020. And it shows even the Mahagathbandhan going up from 37 to 41. Again, not surprising, because this time they've also got the VIP party on their side, who could bring a 3 to 4% possibly to their rank. Javed Ansari, first quick comments.
So it's not surprising. It's very much in line with what the reporters from the ground have been telling you, which of course, again, not surprisingly, is at variance with what the pundits sitting in air-conditioned studios have been saying. So I'm not surprised, and I still believe it will go down to the wire. Although having said that, I will also be not surprised if NDA doesn't eventually turn out to be the winner.
Okay. Now remember, is Bihar a state which is voting for the incumbent? Nitish Kumar has been Chief Minister for 20 years with just one short gap between 2013 and 14. Otherwise, he's been dominant, the longest serving Chief Minister of the Hindi heartland. Is Bihar a pro-incumbency or an anti-incumbency state is one of the big questions, even as we are bringing you that breaking news of Axis My India poll giving 43% to Nitish Kumar, to the Nitish Kumar-led NDA, 41% to the Mahagathbandhan. Prashant Kishor's Jan Suraj is at only 4%, others are 12%. So a 2% gap in Bihar can become 20-30 seats at the very minimum in difference between the two alliances. Remember last time there was only 12,000 votes that separated the two alliances, and yet there was a healthy 18-seat edge eventually to the NDA. Pro-incumbency, anti-incumbency. Gaurav Sawant, take it away. Give us a sense to our viewers of the history of Bihar.
So Rajdeep, Bihar has had a history, and let's take it from pre-independence, or for the sake of this conversation, 3 phases from 1950 to 77, which was seen as the Congress era, 1990 to 2005, which was seen as Lalu era, and 2005 onwards, which was seen as the Nitish Kumar era. When you talk about 1950 to 77, Shri Krishna Singh, actually from 1946 onwards, Shri Krishna Singh, the second longest serving Chief Minister then of Bihar, almost 15 years, seen as the architect of modern Bihar. Then the Ram Manohar Lohia agitation, 67-68, that's the era that saw a little change that was happening in Bihar, the era of change. Karpuri Thakur became the Chief Minister. Then, of course, again, you had the emergency, post-emergency. You had a number of Chief Ministers who were coming and going. So there was a period of pro-incumbency. Then there was a period of flux in Bihar, a number of Chief Ministers coming and going. Let me then take you to the Lalu Prasad Yadav era, from 1990 to 2005. 7 long years, Lalu Yadav, he was Chief Minister till the time he was charge-sheeted in the fodder scam case. Then for 8 long years, practically 8 years, Rabri Devi was the Chief Minister. Very briefly, you had an era when Nitish Kumar came in, but it was almost 15 years of Lalu Raj till 2005 when Nitish Kumar came in. And how? Look at the election of 2010, that 2010 election that was seen as an absolute game changer at that time in Bihar. The BJP and JDU had 206 seats on their own. And then post 2010, whoever Nitish Kumar was with was the government in power. If he was with RJD, it was RJD and Nitish. If it was with BJP, it was BJP and Nitish. But Nitish Kumar was Chief Minister. Brief period where Jitan Ram Manjhi came in. Now is the big question, Rajdeep. Is it Nitish Kumar who will be sworn in as Chief Minister for the 10th time in Bihar, breaking his own record and creating history again?
It's quite remarkable actually what Nitish Kumar has done. What we are now getting you immediately is also the caste breakdown as per the Axis My India poll. Maria, you've got the details of the caste breakdown, because remember in Bihar we can discuss the Mahila factor, and we will discuss that, and the Yuva factor, the new MY as it's called. But ultimately, caste is an enduring reality. If these are the big numbers, Maria, 43% to the NDA and 41% to the Mahagathbandhan, where are the votes coming from? What is the kind of caste coalition that is working for the NDA and what is working for the Mahagathbandhan?
So if we look at the direct calculation, Rajdeep, 37% last time to 43% right now, as is being projected by Axis My India. Is this coming from the Paswans? If you look at it, their caste-wise breakdown is that Paswan's actual percentage is 5%, of which 64% have voted for the NDA as per Axis My India. And when we look at the crucial EBCs, they are 15%. And because we are looking at EBCs just as EBCs, they're not adding the Kurmis, the Telis. In that, 61% have voted for the NDA, which essentially means that not much of the EBC mobilization has happened outside the crucial, that aspect of it, which is the Mallas. So if you look at it, if you break down that further, Ravidas, however, have more a percentage, they have tilted towards the MGB. They are in all 5%, of which 36% have gone to the MGB, 32% to the NDA. SCs, again, if you look at it, 52% have gone towards the NDA. This is out of the total percentage of their population, which is 5%. So the number which I'm looking at is, again, the EBCs, which is 15% in all, 61% still going towards Nitish Kumar, and realizing that he is that person who can consolidate the EBCs minus the Mallas.
So you're saying about 60% plus of 15%. Total EBC is 26%. Am I correct? But you're not including here.
No,
if you add the
10%
Paswanda Muslims, it becomes 36.
36.
26% EBCs, but you have taken essentially you've taken out Kurmis, Koiris out of that.
Absolutely.
And therefore, Pradeep Gupta and Axis is looking at 15% and Kurmis, Koiris separately.
Yes,
and
Kurmis.
Kushwas.
Yes, so according to Pradeep Gupta's Access My India, Kurmis, of 4% Kurmis, 68% have gone towards the NDA. Again, in that, if you look at Teli, is an important constituency, there was this calculation that because of IP Gupta, there would be a shift towards the Mahagathbandhan. That doesn't seem to be happening. Teli in all have 3%, of which 61% is going towards the NDA.
Okay, so essentially we've got Muslims and Yadavs firmly with the MGB.
Yes.
MGB getting a section of the Dalit vote, but MGB not getting the extremely backward castes and other groups that they need in a way to try and go ahead of the NDA as per the poll. Remember, these are exit poll findings. These are not final findings. But I want reactions again to that, what you're just hearing on this caste breakdown. Are you surprised at all, Manisha Priyam? It seems more or less caste identities are holding. We can talk about Mahila, we'll talk about, but the caste identities as per the Axis My India poll are by and large holding. Small dents made in the Dalit vote, but not large enough for the Mahagathbandhan to topple the NDA at the moment.
So two things. In the caste alliance that you see from the caste prism, then that will tell you that the dominant Yadavs form the core bank of the MGB, and the Kurmi-led coalition of the EBCs. Remember, there's a leader for the EBCs, which are the Kurmis. That sustains the NDA on the other side. The only dent that happens is in the areas where the CPIML is strong, and there you see the Kanus chipping it away on behalf of the ideology-led coalition led by the CPIML, the Dalits, the Mahadalits. So that's the area, the regional map. This time around, the BJP's tried to breach it. Let's see how far they can go in terms of breaching what is the CPIML stronghold.
Rajdeep, if I could quickly come in, the Mahagathbandhan may have talked about trying to breach it and moving forward, but are they getting the VIP votes in their favor? Look at their friendly fights that are happening. The so-called friendly fights, they're happening with the VIP, which is seen as an alliance partner.
Has he given a separate Malla?
Look at Gaurapuram, look at Chainpur, look at Baldur.
What is the Malla vote?
46%
of
is
Malla
going
vote?
to, of Malla vote going to NDA,
Correct.
40% going to MGB.
So they've taken it, Rajdeep. That means if 40% has gone to the Mahagathbandhan, that clearly suggests that the vote has split, which had en masse in 2020. Nearly all of it had gone to the NDA. It has split and it has gone to the MGB.
Can I just ask you though, Preeti, you traveled through some of the Malla areas. Now, these are fishermen in large parts of Bihar along the Ganga. The fact is they're about 3-4%. No one has an exact number of the total number across, but they are in almost every constituency in a large belt, in Mithilanchal, in Tirhut, in large parts. I want to understand, the MGB announced Mukesh Saini as their deputy chief minister. Despite that, they've not got a majority. The point is, the MGB was obviously hoping that they would sweep this Malla vote by putting up a deputy chief minister.
Rajdeep,
that has not happened.
No, I've traveled the entire length of the riverine belt where, the population of Mallas is a lot. The VIP actually only has influence in the upper north area, Madhubani, Darbhanga. This is where the VIP actually holds. You go down to Gaya, if you meet a Malla, he doesn't even know who Mukesh Sahani actually is. So that there is a difference. The Mahagathbandhan was hoping to break that 3 to 4% vote and pull in a segment to it. That, if I'm going to look at these numbers, if 40% of the Malla vote has actually gone to the MGB, then the MGB has done its job in terms of fracturing the Malla vote.
But I'll give you an interesting story that a Congress leader who was working in one of those areas told me. He said, "Abhi bhi un area mein logon ko lagta hai ki VIP तीर के साथ है." So breaking that is not easy. The
But if
symbol,
it's-
the
if
symbol
it's-
association has remained in a way with Nitish Kumar. I want to understand that this EBC vote, Sajjan Kumar, very quickly, because many believe that we look at Nitish Kumar and yes, Mahila first leader, brought in prohibition, brought in reservations in local bodies, brought in cycles for girls, but he has consciously cultivated the EBCs who felt left out of Lalu Prasad's social justice revolution. Explain to us the importance of the EBC factor.
Look, in Bihar, EBCs has been
Extremely backward caste for viewers.
has been constituted. So there has been a subcategory within the OBCs since 1978 when Karpuri Thakur came, and he carefully nurtured and ensured that the leadership of backward caste should not go into the hands of the dominant OBCs, which came in 1990 with Lalu Prasad Yadav for the first time into the hands of the Yadavs, and thereafter they felt left out because overwhelmingly it catered to the Yadavs. So when Nitish came into power, he carefully nurtured EBCs by schemes and by ensuring that the women, by the law and order plank and by welfare schemes, they are given priority. So Shasan and Ration both were the plank which nurtured them as a formidable constituency, and they came together. And that is why still you see in their everyday experience, what they see that which leadership is providing them a sort of assurance in terms of welfare schemes as well as in terms of a better perception of law and order. And on this both plank, he remains the trusted leader.
You know, I just want a quick point from Javed Ansari, because this has been a problem that the Mahagathbandhan has faced, the fear of Jungle Raj. And EBCs in particular have felt that if Lalu Prasad's son comes back, Yadav Raj comes back. And that has, in a way, these EBCs voted for Lalu Prasad, 1990, 1995. They are the ones who've drifted away. Do you sense that Lalu Prasad still haunts Tejashwi in some way in the Mahagathbandhan if these numbers hold?
Yes, and I think Tejashwi has failed in emulating the kind of, in broadening his tent and emulating Akhilesh. Akhilesh also suffered. Samajwadi Party also carries this baggage of over-Yadavization. But there he spread the tent. In the last Lok Sabha elections, through PDA, he brought in other backward castes. Tejashwi has not been able to do it to the extent they ought to have done. And because they failed to chip away enough and more of EBC and Mahadalits, and therein lies the reason for the performance.
You know, it's interesting because Tejashwi gave 51 seats to Yadavs, 19 to Muslims, 18 to Muslims. So 69 out of his 140 odd are Muslims and Yadavs. He tried to give EBCs and Kushwas in particular, hoping that he could attract them. But it is not easy to build that kind of coalition. Yes.
There was an infighting going on within the RJD and the VIP, within the RJD and the Congress, within the RJD and the, IP Gupta's party. So when all of this is happening, how will you bring in caste? So much so, Mukesh Sahni's brother, Santosh Sahni, had to step down for an RJD candidate. One seat, Gaura Boram. Look at Chainpur. Brij Kishor Bind in RJD versus Govind Bind of the VIP. And instead of taking on the JDU, they're taking on each other. There's another example in Beldur, where the Nishad party, Mithilesh Kumar Nishad versus the IIP candidate instead of taking on the JDU. So look at this infighting.
There are more numbers coming.
Yes.
We want to focus today on numbers. One of those numbers is the Yuva vote. Maria, I want to first you to explain before we go to the Access My India votes on age composition, why the youth vote. We keep mentioning Mahila and we did it at the outset. What is the youth factor in Bihar?
Yes. So we have been talking about the Mahila factor. They have tilted the balance of power in favor of Nitish Kumar in 2020, clearly giving a decisive edge to the NDA. Now, what is the youth factor that is being discussed in the context of 2025 Bihar? Just look at these numbers here. In all, the total number of registered voters in Bihar stands at 7.43 crores, of which the young voters, which is male and female, in the age group of 18 to 30 is 1.63 crore, which is 22% of the total electorate. And again, the first-time voters, again a very important category, is 14.1 lakh voters. This becomes important because Bihar has been, it is the state which is the youngest in terms of its demographic, but also has several complexities. And is the youth now despondent, frustrated with the current regime is the big question. Now let's give you a sense of how this Yuva, or the youth of Bihar, voted in 2020 polls. Look at this number. Again, in this age bracket of 18 to 29, they voted significantly for the NDA. The gap between the NDA and the Mahagathbandhan in 2020 was 4%. I'll be asking the producer to put that on our television screens. In 2020, that age gap between, in that group of 18 to 29, Mahagathbandhan got 37% of votes, NDA getting 41%. When we look at, again, this young men and young women, NDA and Mahagathbandhan almost getting the same numbers. In fact, Mahagathbandhan got 39%, NDA got 38%. What about now?
Okay.
Rajdeep, over to you.
You know, that's interesting because the Axis My India poll is saying the following, and listen to these numbers carefully. In their age-wise vote share, they are giving in the age group 20 to 29, many of them first-time voters, and 22% of Bihar is this, 37% to NDA, but 44% to the Mahagathbandhan. So the Mahagathbandhan actually has a 7% lead. You know, there has been so much talk of the youth factor, but a 7%. So if the Mahagathbandhan is still in the race, as per Axis My India, it's the youth which is propelling Tejashwi Yadav forward. And Jan Suraj, which many people, the new party of Prashant Kishor, is just getting 6%. Now, if you go, on the other hand, to those who are over 60 to 69 age, here there is a 10% gap in favor of the NDA. 49%, 39%. Remember, pensions were increased to 1100 rupees just before the election. Go over 70, the age group over 70, the gap is 16%. 51% to NDA and only 35% to Mahagathbandhan. What's the story? Those who have experienced Lalu Raj or have been there in the Lalu years seem reluctant to vote for possibly the Mahagathbandhan. Newer voters who are born after in the 2000s are willing to experiment with the Tejashwi. Would I be right, Rajat Sethi? The younger you are in Bihar at the moment, the more you are willing to experiment with a non-NDA arrangement.
Largely, this is an NDA problem, and this is a pan-India problem. This also reflected in 2024, and we discussed this, that it is this young voter which hasn't experienced the UPA days, hasn't experienced the Lalu days. If you pick Madhya Pradesh, they haven't experienced Digvijay's days or years. So this segment of new voters who just don't know what a Congress rule looks like or what a Lalu rule looks like, they are toying with the idea because there is a degree of lack of jobs in the state, and they want, and they are the fatigue factor results into maximum actionable events only in this segment. So I believe they have come out in the
why
hope
have they
that
not?
they can get.
The interesting thing is, why have they not gone for Prashant Kishor? Prashant Kishor was banking on this youth factor as per the Axis My India poll. And remember, I want to put this caveat. When you're a new party, it is often that you get underpolled in exit polls because you may not have any past parameters to go by. Why have they not gone for Prashant Kishor? Why have they chosen a Tejashwi between 20 and 29?
There are certain funds, and I have been following Prashant's journey over the past couple of years. I believe that he made a couple of basic errors. One was not contesting the election. True. Not contesting the election in a place which respects sacrifice. You know, you going out contesting, fighting it out, doing a Kejriwal kind of a thing. I mean, wins and losses are a small thing when you're trying to be that challenger. If you're not being seen in that frame, that you can go out and challenge, there are going to be repercussions. You will not leave the campaign up to a crescendo. You need to build up the narrative and take it to a level.
Go ahead. Yes, strong objection, go ahead.
Number one, youth voters should be about 29%. At 22, we are saying the SIR has left out the youth. However, why, I don't know.
No, our figures show 22% of Bihar is between the age of 18 and 29, the highest in the country.
Okay, fine.
Now, out of that, at the moment, Tejashwi Yadav and the Mahagathbandhan have a 7% lead.
Okay, so let me just tell you one thing, that if Prashant Kishor has not been standing with the youth, he's not understood the basics of Bihari politics. Since anti-Congress politics has started in Bihar in the 1990s, it has been Sushil Modi, it has been Lalu Prasad Yadav, it has been Nitish Kumar, who were all youth politicians from Patna University. That has shifted. The poorer generation that has gone to schools under Nitish now goes for coaching centers in Musallapur Hat, right across Patna University. The fact is that in Musallapur Hat, the Kurmis, Kushwahas, Yadavs, there is a slugfest amongst OBC children. Who is out of that? Prashant Kishor and the Congress party not there. One second, let me just complete this point. I would say in Gandhi Maidan, where I heard Jaiprakash and Karpuri 5 a.m. in the morning, you see barefoot young people running for bharti. And therefore, I believe that the primary demand of the youth in Bihar today is bharti and jobs.
So,
That's the
go ahead.
reason.
Yes, Javed.
And it is not an Indian
No,
process.
so,
It is
one
not
minute. So,
aligning with the
Prashant,
youth.
1 minute. Prashant Kishor is also appealing to the youth that I will bring you jobs. Enough. You've tried up Lalu, you've tried Nitish, but he's not, as per this poll, gathering the traction even among that youth demographic.
Yeah.
That's my question.
Yeah, because he's not seen as a serious contender. Because he's a first timer. He's still not seen, while there is no doubt that he's the only one who's laid down a futuristic roadmap. The others haven't. But just to dismiss this is because they haven't suffered under Congress and UPA, and therefore they are going. That's not true. It's because there are not enough jobs and they are frustrated with the present dispensation.
But Mala, are you surprised?
This is exactly anti-incumbency.
Yeah, but
you need to build it up. My problem is that could this have been a pan-age group sort of a
why was it
phenomena?
not?
Why did it not happen for a pan-age group phenomena? It is
But
the only...
Rajiv,
but
juxtapose these
yes.
numbers.
Yes.
Juxtapose these numbers on the youth vote in 2020. It practically mirrors the same divide. So what happened in terms of what the youth voted in the age group of 20 to 29%, where you have, I think, 37% NDA, 44, so about 8% difference between NDA and the Mahagathbandhan in the youth.
My sense
That
is very clear.
practically
Those
mirrors
who have
2020.
memories of what happened in the Lalu years of 1990s are reluctant to turn the clock back.
Yes,
Do
Rajdeep,
you agree with that?
Yes, this is an
You
election.
grew up in that era.
This is an election of memories, as we have been saying. Good memories of Nitish Kumar, as there is a sense of gratitude, even among people who have seen his era and those children who have heard it from their parents. So when we say that this is a generation willing to experiment, let's also not forget that they may be also outside Bihar. They have seen certain things. They are willing to experiment on those lines. But Rajdeep, you know, one thing is clear that I have met in Jahanabad someone who was from the Bhumiyar community, was working in Maharashtra, who said that I would rather go with the Tejashwi who's promising 2.5 crore vote.
You know, I just want to put just a minute.
30 seconds.
Axis My India poll.
Yes.
Unemployed. They've gone to occupation. Unemployed, 34% NDA, 49% Mahagathbandhan. If you don't have a job today in Bihar, you have looked in this election to Tejashwi Yadav as an alternative. Now we can diss the fact that how will he provide 2.79 crore job because he said one job per household.
Jan Suraj,
But
Rajdeep?
the Jan Suraj is just 6%.
Even in unemployment?
Even in unemployment among students. 33% NDA, 48% Mahagathbandhan. Then as you go higher, the real gap starts. If you're self-occupied or if you're a housewife, 48% are saying NDA, 37% are saying Mahagathbandhan. So law and order there becomes an important issue, and there the
Mahila
memories
vote.
come of the past.
So
again,
That's the
if you
woman
say
vote.
self-employed, 49% NDA, 36% Mahagathbandhan. So the challenge really was that there was anti-incumbency. But how do I build on anti-incumbency if this exit poll is right? Has been a challenge for the Mahagathbandhan. And if these numbers are right, they have not yet been able to build on it. Even among farmers, it's virtually a dead heat. But it is really among the unemployed for one side versus those who have occupations or housewives on the other. Yes, now Gaurav.
You know, the only point I wanted to make was in the Seemanchal belt where it was believed that MGB will do extremely well and they may still do well. The youth parents said they're missing. They're outside. They've gone out looking for a job because there are no jobs in Bihar. So would they be voting? Point one. Point two, the other point they were raising was, yes, there is delivery of Nitish Kumar versus promise of Tejashwi Yadav. Will Tejashwi Yadav deliver those one government job per family, and how will he deliver that 30,000 per month? That was the question they were asking.
Taken. Okay, there are interesting also numbers coming in the Axis My India poll on geography. Rural areas, NDA 43%, Mahagathbandhan 41%. Urban areas 44%, Mahagathbandhan 42%. The Jan Suraj 5% rural, 4% urban. So the Jan Suraj, in a way, Sajjan, could it be undercounted? I'm looking at the caveats. Let's be honest, exit polls are not the final result. When I look at these numbers, if this Jan Suraj goes from 5 and 4% to 8, 9%, not even double digit, does it change the election? Because in rural and urban, the gap is just 2%. I know it's significant. It's significant. 2% is significant. But there's also the possible underpolling of the Jan Suraj. Could that be a caveat?
If it goes, Rajdeep, then certainly. But what we also see, one of the trend that voters may like you and that we got, but if you do not see your candidate as winnable ones in the constituency, they would vote to someone else rather than you.
ये है बिहारी wisdom कि हम उसी को वोट देंगे जो चुनाव जीतेगा.
Exactly. So that is why I do not think it's underreported.
Rajdeep, I believe that Prashant Kishor's real surprise is that he could do well in pockets in rural areas. It came to me as a complete surprise because I was looking at it as an urban party. In Chhapra, as you know, I have seen them do very well in Garkha, in Parsa. I have seen them do well in Madhara. I don't know what the overall impact of all this will be, but I didn't know that he had struck a chord in
by
rural
polls,
areas.
Rajdeep, 11%. Jan Suraj took in by polls, 11% vote. Yeah. If we are looking at a 4%, I think the general traditional psephology in the last couple of days has suggested that if Prashant Kishor's Jan Suraj polls about 9%, then it cuts into MGB's vote. If it crosses 11%, then we are looking at cutting into the NDA's vote share. At 4%, has he been underpolled is a question that needs to be answered.
Okay. When we look at the gender-wise, Rajdeep,
yes, go ahead.
Also come
yeah, come on. Go ahead, Mariette.
Yes, so when we look at the gender-wise number which has come out
Okay,
now,
meanwhile, while you come into that, just a bit of breaking news. The Cabinet Committee on Security has begun its meeting at the moment after the Red Fort blast. The probe intensifies. Remember, more people have been picked up. Gaurav, you want to quickly tell us the importance of the CCA? The Prime Minister has come back now from Bhutan. Presumably, they will want this investigation to reach a logical conclusion before any action is taken. This is not, therefore, Pahalgam in that sense. Am I correct?
No, it isn't. You're absolutely right. This isn't a Pahalgam at all, prima facie, because in Pahalgam you had Pakistani terrorists who had singled out Hindus and killed them. In this case, these are Indian Muslim, in most cases these are doctors and other professionals who were involved in this terror plot. A large number have been detained, but there are some who are there, including a very disturbing fact that there's a car with explosives which is still missing, Rajdeep. So catching that car before the next blast is the biggest task right now.
Maria, give us those big numbers, because I think the election is still, this has been my belief from day one in Bihar. If the Axis My India poll is right, what Maria is about to tell you could be critical. The gender-wise division of votes that's taking place in Bihar. Maria, give us the numbers.
So NDA, according to Pradeep Gupta's Axis My India, is getting 45% of the female voters and 41% of the male voters. But in comparison to the Mahagathbandhan, he's projecting that 40% female are going towards Mahagathbandhan. There is a gap between the Mahagathbandhan and the NDA is at 5%. And among the male voters, Mahagathbandhan is getting 1% more. But when we look at Jan Suraj, and I think that becomes important again because Prashant Kishor's popularity among women is less. It's only 3%, perhaps more among the female. But Rajdeep, in comparison to 2020, this is not much of a swing.
Right, yeah,
but it's not much of a swing.
Let me just repeat what...
That's surprising.
No, Susan,
there's not much of a swing.
Let me just repeat this, right? Because I think this is significant. NDA is getting, just a minute, 41% male vote is going to the NDA, 41%, 42% Mahagathbandhan, the Jan Suraj 5, others 12. This is as per Axis My India, a 1% edge to the Mahagathbandhan. As we pointed out at the outset, Preeti had pointed out how there was a gap, even in absolute numbers, between male and women voters. About 4.5 lakh women across Bihar have voted more than men. That's why the women vote becomes crucial. What is the women vote showing? 45% women, as per the Axis My India poll, are voting for the NDA, 40% for the Mahagathbandhan. That's a 5% gap.
4%, so, Rajdeep, 41%, 45%.
No, please, 45 plays 40. 45 and 40. Male is 41, 42.
Male is 41.
5% gap between party alliance number one. That's huge. Because that could be making the difference, particularly when there's been a large voter turnout.
But Rajdeep,
Preeti, are you surprised with this? Or is this what you saw on the ground?
No, Rajdeep, you did see. See, the fact is the core constituency of Nitish Kumar is women. You know, you go across Bihar, many see this as the 10,000 rupee scheme that many talk about as a top-up.
No,
I'll
so
tell you what surprises
just a minute. Was it the 10,000 rupees that was being attractive, or was it the fact that Nitish Kumar over the last 20 years has cultivated
Rajdeep, it's an image that is cultivated over years. Yeah. It starts off off with the cycle, then it starts off metric ke baad itna, inter ke baad itna paisa milega. You know, it's a image cultivated over years. But I'll tell you what I'm surprised with in these numbers. I would have expected the difference to be more. If 10,000 rupees was a factor, this mirrors what 2020 was.
And can I just add,
yes, very quickly,
there
yes.
is another fact called the Yuva work within Mahila. And I've been time and again saying, I have gone and interviewed girls who were on cycles in the last election, but are going to what are called inter-colleges in and around Jahanabad, where the NDA is doing quite well. And the girl said, आरक्षण नहीं, सुरक्षा चाहिए. हमारे थाना में महिला पुलिस कर्मी लगाओ, ताकि हम सुरक्षा से कॉलेज जा सकें.
Who are they voting for?
The MGB.
The MGB. So
Yes,
there's a section of young. So there are two broad divisions. One is
Yes.
age-wise
Yes.
and one is gender. The problem for the Mahagathbandhan at the moment seems to be these numbers is that the gender-wise division is much greater in terms of absolute numbers, because women are the power of 49 or power of 50, if you want to call it that.
Rajdeep,
And
was there caste? Did caste play a factor amongst women?
Yes.
Because
Look,
I'm
This
surprised.
shows
I
caste
was
has,
expecting.
Rajdeep,
Look, what
this
we know is
figure
that-
shows caste has played a
look,
factor
we
as
know
well.
caste identities are firm, but despite those firm identities, there is a greater propensity of women to rise above caste identities if these poll is right. Am I correct, Sanjay?
Precisely because women are more scheme-centric compared to the males.
Maria, are you surprised to see only did you expect an even higher gap among women?
Yes.
I also pointed out, and we'll put out that graphic. Remember last time, wherever women outpolled men, the NDA won almost more than 60% of those seats. This woman vote seems to have stayed with Nitish Kumar consistently now over 15 to 20 years. He comes from a community, caste, since caste is being mentioned, which is just 2.5 to 3%, and yet is able to pull in 15-16% vote consistently. Does the woman have a emotional attachment? Is it, as you once told me, that they see this as a farewell gift for Nitish Kumar?
Absolutely. I would say gratitude. Women tend to have more gratitude, and that's why this is what is reflecting. But Rajdeep, I
Women
would
tend to have more gratitude?
yes, and
That's very unfair,
Yes,
but we'll go ahead. Okay.
But this 5% that I'm seeing is perhaps less than what we were sensing on ground.
100%.
We were sensing just about almost like women consolidating behind Nitish Kumar, something like 2010 kind of consolidation and surge among the women. That's not reflecting in these numbers at the moment. But yes, as we have been saying, in 2020, the elections shifted only when the women outnumbered men. They started voting in more numbers. And as the elections moved, it was almost in the third and the second phase, it was close to 6 to 7%. That's not reflecting in these numbers right now.
So is this the 10 Hazaria election or not?
Not
I mean,
really.
had you not given the 10,000 rupees, the gap might have been even lower.
No, but Rajdeep,
That was the way the NDA countered anti-incumbency.
There are infinite counterfactuals we can debate to no end, right? There is no point doing that. 10,000 was there, is there, will be there. Now look at
I'm
what
asking you
saying.
this, Rajat. You mentioned at the outset there is anti-incumbency. Do you believe the BJP in particular sensed it, and that's why it decided
100%.
1 month before the election we have to give this 10,000? It's not going to work otherwise.
See, 10,000 is such a big amount कि घर में बेटी की तिलक हो जाता है 10,000 में. 10,000 में तिलक भी हो जाता है. नहीं, मैम, तिलक हो जाता है. इतना बड़ा अमाउंट है. छोटा पैसा नहीं है. अरे allow me to finish, ma'am.
All the women have said सिलेंडर का दाम इतना 10,000 रुपए में कोचिंग में बच्चे का महीना भी नहीं निकलता.
उतना भी नहीं दे रहे ना. तो तेजस्वी, what is Tejashwi doing then?
Nitish Kumar
See, my point is,
तिलक होता है 10,000 लाख रुपया कॉस्ट है.
But no, ma'am.
कास्ट वाइज तिलक का दाम.
come on, ऐसा भी नहीं है. ऐसा भी नहीं है.
Income generating.
One by one.
That 10,000 rupees was about income generation. They
Yes.
bought goats. I saw women setting up
Sure.
melas because of 10,000 rupees.
Okay, let Rajat complete. Rajat, quickly complete.
My limited point, Maria, is 5% is also not a natural gap. It's quite a big gap. You look at any historical election, right from Jayalalitha's time or any other time. See, this is what constituency he has developed and condensed over time. This is an ossification of a vote base which doesn't change.
I just want to say the CSDS post-poll survey of 2020 had only given a 1% lead among women to the NDA over the Mahagathbandhan. Yeah. So there is a shift.
So all I'm saying, this is a significant 5%. Don't belittle 5%. It has the potential to sweep the election.
To my mind, this is the key factor. If the Axis My India poll is right, 45% women have voted for one side versus 40 on the other. It is game, set, and almost match. That's the way I see it. will win. The youth will, of course, be a counterbalance. If the youth also went the same way, it would be a landslide. So because the youth have not voted one way, it's a tighter fight. But we're getting one more very interesting data point. Who would you like to see as the next Chief Minister of Bihar? Now take a look at this. 22% are saying Nitish Kumar, 5% Chirag Paswan, Samrat Chaudhary of the BJP 2, and any candidate from BJP 14. That's interesting, any candidate from BJP. So 36, 41, 43%, which roughly is parallels. What has the BJP got? Tejashwi Yadav, 34%. So Tejashwi Yadav, the individual, is 12% ahead of Nitish Kumar. In this direct question, who would you like to see as next Chief Minister? Lalu Prasad, 2%. Lalu still has his admirers. Any candidate from Congress, 3%, and we'll come to the Congress in a moment. Any candidate from RJD, 2%. Prashant Kishor, 4%, despite the fact that he's tried to make it presidential. Are you surprised, Javed Ansari, that here you've got someone in Tejashwi? He's got a popularity of his own. It is there, but it is clearly not enough to actually make it presidential. Ki main keval Tejashwi ke naam pe vote dunga, that's not happening.
Yeah, because I guess it proves that they lack the organizational heft, the organizational wherewithal.
Is it that, or they don't have, as you said, that umbrella caste coalition?
And his inability to broaden the bouquet, to bring in other castes.
So why do you think that Akhilesh, you seem to suggest, has been a little bit more successful than Tejashwi? Is that what you believe?
Yes, I believe, because the last Lok Sabha election showed that in UP. Look at the results. He was wiped out in the assembly elections, and then they've done much better in the Lok Sabha elections.
But Tejashwi has also tried to give other castes
tried
vote.
to, but didn't do
it
enough.
didn't come
And
from-
you suddenly wake up on the eve of elections and you bring this kind of thing. You have to work at it.
Okay.
You have to
And
work at it from
2024,
a time.
Rajdeep, was the
that's one by one. Yes, please.
2024 in Uttar Pradesh, with what we are looking at as a benchmark of Akhilesh Yadav, was the perfect storm in terms of fault lines within fault lines where caste was concerned. Akhilesh was very good in terms of how he distributed tickets, number one. Number two, there were enough fissures where the Rajput community was concerned, which is usually seen right behind the NDA. Those differences are not seen on ground as much in Bihar that we witnessed in Uttar Pradesh.
But you know, if I add the numbers of Samrat Chaudhary and any candidate of BJP, it's 16%. Nitish is still higher than anyone that the
43 is to NDA and 41 is to...
It's similar
Yes,
to...
but I'm saying that Nitish Kumar still scores over any BJP candidate. So the BJP has also not been able to throw any face other than Nitish. Am I clear, therefore?
Precisely, because the state BJP leadership is way smaller in stature compared to Nitish Kumar.
Even a ailing Nitish Kumar.
Precisely, post Sushil Kumar, Modi's era, Bihar BJP doesn't have a leader who can appeal to pan-Bihar electorates. So Nitish, despite being past his prime, still stands out compared to any other Bihar BJP leadership.
And you know, Rajdeep, on ground, just 1 minute, on ground, while you have Nitish and BJP complementing each other and moving forward, and the entire umbrella working together, as far as Mahagathbandhan is concerned, it's Tejashwi Yadav, backed by who? His 34% are the Muslims and the Yadavs.
Gaurav, but on ground,
is the Congress,
but on ground, you do witness friction between the LJP and the JDU cadre. I'm just saying it's there, it cuts both ways. It's in both camps.
The numbers that we are seeing, is the Congress taking RJD ahead with it, or is the Congress actually pulling the RJD
It's a
down?
weak
Okay,
It's the
that's
question.
We'll come to that in a moment, which alliance is working better on the ground, because remember, there's been a reluctance on the part of the BJP also to officially anoint Nitish Kumar this time as their chief ministerial candidate. Why is a question we'll ask. But when we return, the Axis My India region by region poll numbers. Who is winning Bihar and by what margin as per the Axis My India poll? When we return, we are going region by region. 6 regions of Bihar that we've taken. We'll tell you who's winning in which region. It could be 1 state, 6 elections. Back in a moment. You're with the India Today exit poll special. We are bringing you the details of the Axis My India poll on Bihar. And the exit poll is giving a 2% lead, 2% at the moment to the NDA over the Mahagathbandhan. How will it translate into seats? That's what we're going to tell you in a moment. The headlines. After the big turnout in Bihar, all eyes. Will that big turnout result in pro or anti-incumbency? The India Today Axis My India exit poll will tell all. The Bihar exit poll numbers on gender show a clear surge in the Mahila vote share for NDA, but a strong support for the MGB among males and youth. Axis My India exit poll predicts first-timers and voters between the age of 20 to 29 want Tejashwi and not Nitish. Prime Minister Modi chairs a crucial cabinet meet on security at his residence days after the Red Fort blast. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, Home Minister Amit Shah, other union ministers at the meet. Massive hunt now launched for another car of terror. Police issue alert for a red EcoSport with registration number DL10CK0458. Police at all border points told to be fully armed. Okay, we've said that there is, as per the Axis My India poll, 43% to NDA, 41% to Mahagathbandhan, 5% to Jan Suraj. How is this translating into seats? We are now going to go region by region, and we are going to tell you the first region is Champaran. Purvi and Paschim Champaran taken together. Vote percentage, NDA has a 3% lead here, 44%, 41%, Jan Suraj, 6, others 9. How is this translating into seats? Now let's look at seats transfer, the tough task for any pollster. NDA gets 12 out of 21, Mahagathbandhan gets 9. But there is a story there because remember in 2020, the Mahagathbandhan got just 3 here and the NDA swept the region. So these are now gains for the Mahagathbandhan in the first region that we are looking at, which is Champaran. So historic Champaran, where remember Mahatma Gandhi had his satyagraha, which changed, many believe, the course of India's freedom movement. But let's get your immediate reactions to what you've seen in Champaran. Maria, these numbers clearly show that the Mahagathbandhan is scoring in areas where in 2020 they had losses. Was there local anti-incumbency against MLAs, many of whom were not changed?
Yes, and I think what worked in favor, may have worked in this particular region, is that the RJD, which is contesting on the maximum number of seats, which is 143, they had changed 40% of their candidates, which essentially meant that the sitting getting formula, which is usually applied in most states and most districts, was not applying this time around. And that is why I would say Purvi and Paschim Champaran, where last time around the NDA had an edge, the Mahagathbandhan seems to be
Quick
gaining.
responses right around the table. Yes, Preeti.
Rajdeep, Champaran was one region, Darbhanga is one region which was looked at swing districts this time around. Champaran, I was in Northern, the seat of Northern, where a sitting MLA today is of a BJP. This is also an area where there are two friendly fights as such between the Mahagathbandhan which are taking place in this area. This was an area where, the spotlight was on this area if the MGB will gain. And I'll tell you what could have been the difference on why we see this number, if this number actually holds. Because I would have thought the NDA would have made gains in Champaran. That difference, I think, is Jan Suraj, Rajdeep. Jan Suraj is very popular in this particular Saran, Sivan, Champaran, very popular, high migration
Sajjan,
population.
Are you surprised with the Champaran findings?
A bit surprised because despite the candidate factor, I expected that consolidation of EBCs, women factor should have retained the NDA. If these numbers were to be true, I'd bring the candidates' relatability, the local anti-incumbency as the sole factor that should give such a kind of number. So a bit surprising given the ground sentiment, but nevertheless, if it's true, it has to be more about the candidate than the
Are you surprised, Rajat, that the BJP didn't drop more candidates? Normally, the Narendra Modi formula is you drop more than 50% of your sitting MLAs. They haven't done that in Bihar.
No, especially in Tirhut and Darbhanga region, which is part of in the neighborhood areas around the Champaran that you are defining as. BJP was able to sweep the entire region, and at least in these numbers, it doesn't seem like they've been able to sweep. Is this because of the strategy which BJP adopted of not changing and going by local incumbents? I don't know. BJP would have done their own calculations, but why and how is Mahagathbandhan able to gain ground on this is still something that we need to double click on.
Even before we go region by region, maybe we'll have to reverse the order and first give you the big numbers. Because what we now have is the Axis My India poll, big numbers. You're seeing them flashing on your screen. 43% plays 41%, 4% to Jan Suraj, 12% to others. That's the vote share. How is this translating into seats? That's the big one now. Take a look at what the seat share is looking like at the moment. As per the Axis My India poll at the moment, it is 98 to 118 to the Mahagathbandhan. 98 to 118 to the Mahagathbandhan. NDA getting 121 to 141. So you've got the NDA halfway mark is 131. Halfway mark for the Mahagathbandhan is 108. It's almost same as 2020. If you look at it in terms of seats, it's very, very similar. You've got Jan Suraj 0 to 2, NDA 121 to 141. So even at their lower end, they are touching the majority mark. The Mahagathbandhan's best case 118. If that happens, then you have a possibility of being close, maybe not close enough, but certainly close, given that there are 1 to 7 others. So the Mahagathbandhan will hope that they get the top end of Axis My India. The NDA will hope they get the top end of that. But what you are seeing is an intensely competitive election in Bihar this time if the Axis My India numbers are to hold. That suggests a much closer contest than most people have predicted. Let's go right round the table with those big numbers. Are you surprised, Manisha Priyam, with those numbers?
Big numbers, I think there's greater comfort because I did see the NDA in the lead, but I did see a very tight contest. It's in the granular picture, and Champaran definitely surprising me because I do see it as an RSS stronghold, let alone an NDA stronghold. So I think there would be many nuances, many regional pictures, but the big picture holds.
Javed.
It confirms reports from the ground that it is a seat by seat and a much closer election than as is being predicted.
Preeti.
Rajdeep, I did think NDA had the edge. It's a close election. But if these numbers hold, Rajdeep, the fact what I see here is I doubt if the Mahagathbandhan has the stamina then to hold on to 118 or get closer to 120. I think that stamina, the advantage now clearly lies with the NDA. If you look at the components of the Mahagathbandhan, the weakest link will be the Congress. The left is not doing as much. Possibly it will be the RJD, which will be the single largest party.
We'll come to the breakdown. We'll come to individual parties because that might well tell a story, particularly of whether the Mahagathbandhan is being pulled down by its own allies. These numbers could even result in the RJD once again becoming the single largest party and yet not being able to cross the halfway mark. Gaurav, your first remarks.
The bigger picture, when I interviewed Amit Shah in Purnia, he was very confident that they are actually crossing 160. And the BJP was giving details of man-on-man marking, seat-on-seat marking. They seem to think that they are on the higher side of this 141. However, people we spoke to on ground. So, for example, even when you went to Mokama, in a Tola where you had the Bhumihars, you had the JDU ahead. In a Tola where you had, the RJD supporters or the Yadavs, you had the Yadavs ahead. So, it's very strong caste-based voting that has happened in Bihar.
What is evident here, Rajdeep, is that we seem to have overestimated the women factor. Otherwise, that would have led to a clean sweep for the NDA, driven by the women voters. And again, the underestimated perhaps the youth factor, which seemed to be also pushing Tejashwi closer to the halfway mark.
Well, if the women were not there, it would be even more trouble for the NDA. That's also very clear when you have a 5% lead and eventually it's coming down to 2%. Sajjan, your first comments on those big numbers. Are we going to see on Friday a much closer contest than many other exit pollsters have been predicting? I've seen polls giving NDA even as high as 160.
Let me reconcile my ground insight and Axis numbers. I would like to go by the lower denominator for Gathbandhan and higher denominator for the NDA. That's how I reconcile my feedback on the ground and the Axis numbers.
What's the difference according to you?
So that's 90, 90, 98.
What's the difference between the two alliances? Where is that big edge to the NDA coming from, Sajjan?
So that's again the Mahila factor is there. That was very much visible. And two, Tejashwi's traction in 2020 was beyond the core constituency, right? That's something that we did not see this time beyond Muslims and Yadavs. Here and there, because of the candidate factor, you see the traction. But Tejashwi as a person who is appealing, who is someone who is making a mark in the mindset, that is something that we did not see happening in 2021. That was a fresh Tejashwi. This time, he was seen more as a leader of the Yadavs, not as a leader of the youths.
Okay,
right?
that's a contentious point. I'll just add one element to that. The 2020 elections, remember, were held in the backdrop of COVID. Lots of migration, lots of anguish and anxiety that people face. Tejashwi, with his promise of 10 lakh jobs, which was achievable, or was a dream that people believed could be realized, was able to attract people at that time. Again, the Congress let him down, if you recall. I've always believed 2020 was Tejashwi's election to win. But Rajat, your first remarks to the big numbers.
I think Pradeep ji is just hedging. He is just hedging on both the sides.
No, so are you saying that Pradeep Gupta is virtually suggesting a potential hung assembly? I can tell you that I spoke this morning to Prashant Kishor. Prashant Kishor is saying, don't rule out a hung assembly, but go ahead.
No, again, I don't care about individual making a remark. We're talking about data. Now, if a data of 2%, you need to look at the maps of how the 2% is localized versus generalized across the state of Bihar. Having said that, looking at the numbers and looking at whatever distribution that you can presume of the women voters, I just believe that Pradeep ji is hedging here on both the extremes, wherein one extreme is a hung assembly and the other is a clear win.
I'm just going to stop you for a moment. I'm going to play that graphic again that you just saw beyond the big numbers. We are now going to go into the party split. This, according to me, is the story also within a story of Bihar. Which party is pulling what, how many seats? Take a look at this. As per the Axis My India poll, BJP 50 to 56, that's down almost 20. Remember, they got 75 last time. They are down between 50 to 56, midpoint 53. JDU, which was 43 last time, is now at a midpoint of 59. So the JDU gaining, BJP coming down. The Lok Janshakti doing very well. Many people have written it off. 29 seats contesting, leading as per the survey, 11 to 16. Could Chirag Paswan have become that critical factor with his 5% vote? Remember, his father, Ramvilas Paswan, always knew how to be on the winning side. The rest 4 to 7, and that includes Upendra Kushwaha and the Hindustani Awam Morcha secular of Jitin Ram Majhi. And Majhi, of course, has chosen good seats. He knows how to choose the right seats. On the other side, RJD 67 to 76. If you looked at purely this as Kaun Banega Sabse Badi Party, RJD once again. Halfway mark 72. So RJD is almost repeating as per Pradeep Gupta's the performance it did in 2020.
But he's contesting much more also this time.
He is
BJP is contesting less, JDU is contesting less,
50% strike rate on both the
each.
sides.
So they're contesting
All
less
the three
and
parties,
yet winning more.
Big parties are
but there is a
50% strike rate.
You're right. In terms of strike rate, the BJP is virtually where it is, because last time, of course, the BJP did contest a few more seats. 112. So 11 more seats, but they are down by 20. So the BJP is, as per its survey, is underperforming. The JDU and the allies are taking it over the halfway mark as per his poll. RJD party number 1. Congress 17 to 21. Congress will be thrilled with those numbers. Because the Congress...
And Rajdeep Sardesai, from the likes of you who wrote their obituary, it was premature.
But Javed, they themselves wrote their obituary.
Mr. Javed Ansari, 17 to 21 seats is only winning 33% of the 61 seats you have.
So...
that's like clutching at straws. Okay, halfway mark is... No, 1 minute. Halfway mark is, for the Congress is 19. So the Congress which contested 70 last time, won 19, is winning 19, contesting 61 this time.
But they're not, not even 50. 51 on paper.
Plus 11 friendly, 8 friendly fights.
No. Okay, they wanted 61, they took back 3, they had 58, 8 are friendly fights, 51 is what they're contesting.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, the fact is that the Congress is virtually where it was last time, having contested fewer seats. The next one, VIP. This was the party that was the Mahagathbandhan was hoping would also pull it up. It is contesting 13 seats. It is 15 seats. It's winning 3 to 5. So it's not winning 50%. Some of the allies need to start winning 50% of the seat. The others rest is 10 to 16,
Rajdeep,
which is
that's where the
primarily
micro data is.
primarily the CPI-ML. So the CPI-ML is the one which is pulling up in a way as it did last time, the Mahagathbandhan. Others 1 to 7.
No, Rajdeep.
They have the cadre.
The CPI is doing badly.
But ma'am, just a minute. Let us please break down the numbers. Others have to be 1 to 7 and the JSP is 0 to 2. So you've got a situation at the moment which, if these numbers hold, clearly show RJD party number 1, but the allies of the BJP are doing reasonably well, particularly the JDU and the Lok Jan Shakti, and thereby ensuring the BJP is over the halfway mark. Could the story be of, at the end of the day, having a wider alliance gives you that 2 or 3% extra vote? Getting in an Upendra Kushwaha, getting in a Chirag Paswan who fought last time is turning to be the game changer, am I right?
Yes, precisely, because you find on the ground excellent chemistry and arithmetic when Paswan voters are coming. All the theories about two
Vote
parties,
transfer.
vote transfer is happening on the ground on the pattern. Two, also, you see, Kushwaha factor in Bihar never had a synchronized voting pattern like Kurmis, Yadavs, etc. Right? So Magad and Bhojpur region did have CPI-ML vote bank. So therefore, but still compared to 2020, you find more Kushwahas voting. Similarly, you find among the non-Paswan, non-Ravidas, Dalits, you have more traction towards Mahagathbandhan, NDA. So that way, certainly NDA chemistry and arithmetic is more in sync, compared to that.
Let's look at the Congress. Let's look at two parties. One is BJP, the two national parties. Rajat, if the BJP looks at these numbers, they were delighted last time because they had emerged for the first time as a serious contender for power, just one seat behind the RJD. Now, having gone down, if these numbers hold, is this an acceptance that the BJP in Bihar, the one state where they've not had a chief minister of their own, has their limitations?
I think the entire leadership of the state unit of the BJP has been struggling. They have lacked any charismatic leader who have their own goodwill to swing elections on their own. And that misery continues. And I think this is the reason why they have to still, agree to 50-50 sharing of seats and everything. I just believe that the whole unit, the state unit, does not exude confidence, and that starts reflecting into lack of performance even on the ground. And I don't think the central BJP has any options in terms of picking the right faces. They're experimenting with certain faces from outside, but that's about it. There is no real imagination.
Just for 30 seconds, BJP is no longer the junior partner in an alliance. In Bihar, it is contesting equal number of seats as the JDU. 101 is what both of them are contesting.
But
yes, JDU winning more, no doubt, according to these numbers. But the fact remains that the way they're campaigning, the bigger election machinery that they have, they are trying to make deeper inroads along with the RSS.
Okay, Preeti, your first reactions to what you're seeing from the Congress party. You said that the Congress party, compared to last time, contesting fewer seats, is winning the same number of seats. Does that suggest that the Congress party got better seats this time, or they've run a better campaign?
No, I don't think they've run a better campaign, and I actually don't think they bargained for better seats, because most 34 seats is where they're facing off against the BJP and the JDU, and they really don't have that much of a great track record. I think what is bolstering the chances of the Congress here, and I have to say, is despite of the Congress's performance on ground, it is, the larger anti-incumbency. People are feeding into that. Number one. Rajdeep, when you look at the others, and if you can put all the data out in terms of the party breakup, the left last time around got 16 seats. Where you look at others, which left is a component of 10 to 16, there are 7 other components that the MGB has, along with IP Gupta's party and 6 other smaller factions representing 1 or 2 seats where the Dalit communities are concerned. The left is pulling the Gathbandhan down here. The left is not doing as well as it did in 2020. And the other one point I'd like to make, the BJP would be gutted to see these numbers. They truly would be gutted to see these numbers. They were clearly expecting over 70.
If these numbers, of course,
if these numbers hold.
One point here. If we look at, in terms of the strike rate, the JDU strike rate is the best among all the political parties.
Yes.
It is at 61%. The RJD's is around 52%. Important factor, as we have been saying, Rajdeep, that this election is revolving around Nitish Kumar. He's the central figure of this election, and he is the one actually who has pulled up the numbers of the BJP. What is BJP's contribution to this number or to the overall picture of the NDA? Of course, they are bringing in the upper caste votes. But, of course, we have been talking about the election winning machine. They have good booth management. But as far as the vote-catching ability of Nitish Kumar is concerned, that remains intact. even after if he has been in power for 20 years.
So what these numbers would suggest is Tejashwi is firmly, if these numbers hold, Tejashwi is firmly the face of the opposition. But Nitish Kumar, Bihar ki majburi hai ya zaruri hai, whichever way you look at it, it will be Nitish again if these numbers hold. Good point to go and join all our political guests. Sanjay Kumar, National Spokesperson, JDU. Jayan Jigyasu, National Spokesperson, RJD. Anukruti is the space spokesperson, Jan Suraj. Guru Prakash Paswan, National Spokesperson, BJP. To you, Mr. Paswan, first, if these numbers hold, and I keep emphasizing it's a big if, how will the BJP see this? 50 to 56 is what you're winning in a state where you won 75 last time. Is there an acceptance, as Maria just said, that this is Nitish's election? To an extent, BJP has piggybacked on Nitish rather than the other way around as was 5 years ago.
No, Rajdeep ji, I don't think I agree with the position, but you have to understand when you are giving a sector-wise data. If you look at the sector-wise data, we have very strong leaders. If you look at Champaran, we have Radha Mohan Singh ji, and Radha Mohan Singh ji has been a member of parliament from Motihari for the last 30 years. If you look at the Kosi region, and I'm happy that you have given the data sector-wise and region-wise, from Jhanjharpur, we have a young and dynamic Nitish Mishra as well. So I don't think we do a great amount of disservice by putting the blame on state BJP for that matter. Bihar election are always very intense, and I don't think anyone better than you would understand this perspective. What we fail to understand in this entire calculus is that the consolidation of the EBCs, there are 36 communities. The Nishads, and in fact, when we speak of the EBCs, the Nishads saw how repeatedly Mukesh Sahni was insulted. His brother was denied a symbol from the very prestigious seat of Gauda Badam of Darbhanga. So I agree with you when you say it's a very candidate-specific, it's a very state-specific election. But you cannot discount the fact that the large number of women, the large number of youngsters, they have come out, and it's very, it's not justified to assume that the youngsters voted for the Tejashwi Yadav.
Today,
what we realize in this election, and I say this.
Sir, I have to go with the data before me. You're getting Mahila vote, but not getting the Yuva vote, which is one of the interesting factors of this election. I want to go to Jayant Jigyasu, National Spokesperson, RJD. It almost seems that this is 2020 redux in a way in terms of the overall seat share, if these numbers hold. It's a big if. I keep repeating, it's an exit poll. Is there any hope you have, given these numbers, that you could form a government, or will you fall short like you did last time? Because none of your allies are getting 50% of the seats. You're the only potential party within the Mahagathbandhan getting 50% of its seats that it's contesting.
Will be remembered for the statesman spirit of Tejashwi Yadav. And he has discharged his duties very conscientiously in 10 years stint as a legislator, as the deputy CM, as the leader opposition. And people trust him. People like him, admire him, appreciate him, and they want to see him as the next Chief Minister of Bihar. Whatever he promised, he has delivered. And as far as these exit polls are concerned, I'm still unable to decipher, and it's still enigma for me. And the very futility of exit polls or opinion polls or any kind of survey.
So you don't trust these numbers. What are your internal numbers saying? Jayan ji, aapke internal numbers kya keh rahe hain?
I don't believe in palmistry or any kind of celestial announcement, but I can assure the supporters and members and sympathizers of our alliance that we are quite confident that we are going to form the government with clear majority, and we need simply 122 votes. We don't want to boast of Mazboot Sarkar. We have seen that disinvestment ministry was created in the Vajpayee era, and under the pressure of crony capitalists, Pramod Mahajan was disseminating the very propaganda of feel good and India shining. And when the final count came, Vajpayee had to go. So
we'll wait and see whether Bihar 2025 is India 2004. You see, exit polls are not the final. Exit polls are not the final results. We'll wait and see. But Sanjay Kumar, National Spokesman. Just a minute, sir. Sir, let everyone get their initial remarks. Sanjay Kumar, your National Spokesperson, JDU. Is this a vote for Nitish Kumar if these numbers hold? Is that very clear? Nitish Kumar is the next Chief Minister, or will he in some way be ready to hand over to someone else?
Thanks, Rajdeep. I think as of now, Nitish ji is going to be the next Chief Minister of Bihar. We are pretty sure. And as Maria also said, and we spoke with a lot of journalists, and Nitish ji was in the center of the elections all over the state. Not in one region or in a particular region, but people have voted for him. People, voted for. There is an overall sign of pro-incumbency. Nobody can deny that. And people voted for the work done by him. So he is going to be the chief minister. I'm pretty sure. We are pretty sure.
He's going to be the chief minister. Anukruti, your state spokesperson, Jan Suraj, are you going to now accept ki arsh pe ya farsh pe? If these numbers hold, you're on the farsh, not on arsh.
Well, Rajdeep, first of all, good evening to all of y'all and the rest of the country as well. Jan Suraj has set the narrative for these elections and nobody can deny that. Never in the past 35 years in Bihar had elections been fought on such issues like migration, like, Rozgar within Bihar, like health, education. These are, words that had gone missing from our political discourse. Everybody was only talking of caste dynamics.
Those votes are not coming to you, ma'am. Those issues are there, but people are not giving those votes. People who want Rozgar are not giving those votes to Prashant Kishor. They are giving it to Tejashwi.
That only time will tell, because see, somebody, promising a sarkari naukri to every family and not giving the calculation of how that's going to be afforded, because our entire budget is 3.25 lakh crore and the salaries itself will cost us close to 9 lakh crores. Where is he going to get all the money from? He's not bothered to explain. Secondly, we kept asking, okay, all these, the claims of giving 10 lakh jobs or business opportunities, whatever he claims, please make those names public. That never happened. Similarly, I am very amused and amazed at how for granted we are taking this whole, Mahilaएं vote kar rahi hai NDA ke liye because, the 10,000 thing has worked. 1 hour before the model code of conduct is, implemented, you do this after being in power for 20 years. You suddenly realize that you need
10,000 rupees.
Sorry?
It's not just for 10,000 rupees. Women of Bihar have been voting for Nitish Kumar because of the generational policy shift he has ensured in their favor. So that is what is reflecting even right now.
But having said that, Maria, let me contest that, because let me contest that, Guru Prakash Paswan, before I come back to the guests in the studio, I want to understand this. This 10,000 rupees, cabinet decision taken last week of August, first implementation 75 lakh women September 25th, 10 days before the model code of conduct. Is there somewhere a recognition that the BJP realized voter was fatigued and possibly looking at options? Kya karo? Top up scheme kar do. Kuch log kehte hain vote kharidi. You bought votes with this 10,000 rupees. You even gave them while the campaign was on.
नहीं राजदीप जी, कुछ लोग नहीं कहते हैं, आप कहते हैं। आज सुबह आपका वीडियो मैंने भी देखा है जहां आपने ये आरोप लगाया है, बट इट हैज नो सेम्बलेंस टू रियलिटी। पंचायतों में आरक्षण वोट को देख के दिया था क्या? बिहार पुलिस में सर्वाधिक महिलाएं हैं, वोट को देख के दिया था क्या? बिहार सरकारी नौकरियों में 35% डोमिसाइल रिजर्वेशन इनको देख के थोड़ी दिया था। राजदीप जी, यू हैव टू गो बियॉन्ड दैट। आई थिंक वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट दी वुमेन हैव सॉलिडली सपोर्टेड नीतीश कुमार, राइट फ्रॉम लिकर बैन टू एम्पावरमेंट मेजर्स। पूरे देश में पंचायतों में महिला के आरक्षण नहीं थी, लेकिन महिलाओं को आरक्षण पंचायत में कहां मिला? तो बिहार में मिला। टुडे नीतीश Kumar has the blessings of the women of Bihar. You don't understand the entire political discourse during the election we saw. Rahul Gandhi came, छठी मां को अपमानित किया. Congress's munch, Congress's leadership, in the presence of Congress leaders, Prime Minister's late mother was abused. No one speak about it, but we have to understand that the people of Bihar are really sentimental about it. The women of Bihar specifically, it's a land of Sita, it's a land of Amrapali, it's a land of Ubhay Bharti. They have a different level of consciousness. अगर आपको लगता है पॉलिसी से उनका वोट खरीदा जा सकता है, उनको स्वीप किया जा सकता है, this is a very unreasonable ground.
You're saying sentimental support, plus of course the fact, as Maria mentioned, that Nitish Kumar has cultivated this constituency. But I just want to go to the man of the moment, because he's an exit pollster who's seen all the ups and downs. He's a bit like Nitish Kumar. आपने उतार भी देखा है, चढ़ाव भी देखा है, आप फर्श पे भी रहे, हर्ष पे भी रहे. Today you're smiling. I don't know how you will be looking on come Friday. I hope you're smiling on Friday. But Pradeep, These numbers that you have put, I just heard one of my panelists in the studio saying Pradeep Gupta is playing safe for once. Today you're batting like Sunil Gavaskar and not like Sachin Tendulkar. Why? What has suddenly happened that you're keeping all options open? At your top end, you could even have a hung assembly.
Rajdeep, you are giving good cricket analogy. I will reply in cricket analogy itself. पिच देख के बल्लेबाजी की जाती है. पिच का मिजाज के बल्लेबाजी की जाती है कि चौके छक्के लगाने हैं या सेफ डिफेंसिव गावस्कर की स्टाइल में खेलना है. So that is what is our role and job is to try and understand the insight of the people, what they want, what are their needs, aspirations, and preference, most importantly, the voting.
No, so are you saying that the pitch is a tricky one? Let's be clear. Let's take this cricket analogy again. Are you saying this is a tricky pitch, which is why you've decided to do a well left? You've realized that this is not a pitch for sixes and fours. It is a close election. Am I right?
Yes, I am saying this pitch is in case of T20, this pitch is definitely not to score 200 plus runs. This is the pitch to score around 140, 150. That is the winning number.
Pradeep ji, lot has been made about the Mahila, the women vote. A margin of 5%, how does it really come together for the NDA? And what I'd like to ask you, if it is a close election, if it is the lower limit of the NDA and the higher limit of the MGB, then those 12 seats, which there is a friendly fight on, where the margin of victory last time was, in votes was 12,000. Every seat went down to the wire. How much will that come into play? You must have studied those seats as well, sir.
Definitely, yes, Preeti, and I will reply for seat by seat for those seats as well. Give me some time. But I would always say that these political party call it friendly fight. I call it suicidal fight.
That could be the game changer.
It suits them to, that discourse among themselves. But when it comes to the voter and the voter sees the symbol of both the party in the machine, they confuse, and in the process, the vote gets split and they get defeated.
So are they losing all those friendly fights? Is the Mahagathbandhan losing all the friendly fights?
I will give you the number, but majority of them they are losing. But I will give you the seat by seat number. Give you some time. But आपने जो सवाल पूछा कि lower range and higher range of गठबंधन and lower range of NDA, इसकी क्या संभावना है और ये कहाँ से आ रही है, उसका मैं जवाब देने की कोशिश करता हूँ.
अच्छा प्रदीप जी, जो युवा
let him finish. Finish off.
सारा तीनों डेमोग्राफी का जवाब दे दूंगा मैं, जाति का, महिला का और युवा का. जाति तो यू नो दैट कि सबके सामने MY यानी मुस्लिम यादव ने एक मुश्त वोट बड़ी संख्या में इनको किया. मुझे एक भी व्यक्ति यादव नहीं मिला जो बोले कि उसने जन सुराज को वोट किया. तो वहां पर पूरा का पूरा मुश्त एक वोट या AIM को सीमांचल में कहीं पर वोट किया. दूसरी बात, एक मुश्त वोट पड़ा है. नीतीश कुमार जी या NDA का जो सबसे
go back to your English now.
Okay, chaliye, okay. So I thought I am from Hindi government.
You're on so many channels now. You forget Hindi, English. But go ahead. You're playing on different pitches. Go ahead. That's why I said you're the Nitish Kumar in this election. Go ahead.
Okay. So now coming to Mahila, which is also 50%, and this election, if you see the election commission data itself, the age group of 18 to 39 contributes 50% of the electors. 18 to 39, 50% of the elector. And if you see our age-wise bifurcation, among first-time voter, Gathbandhan is having the lead. Among 18 to 20 to 29, decisive lead in both 37 to 46 and 44 respectively for the Gathbandhan, in favor of Gathbandhan, and 30 to 39, 1 point lead for NDA and 42. I mean, this, whatever you are seeing the Mahagathbandhan upper range, the chances of getting to this upper range is 5%, and 95% chance is that of NDA's upper range or the mid range. This is what is coming out to, because this 50% youth and particularly this incremental voter turnout is suggesting, though this youth work vote little less in comparison to the other age group because they are away from their hometown or the voting booth because of education and professional purposes, etc., and they are always reluctant to vote. But this time, because of Chhath, last 3 election held in assembly election in Bihar held in during Dasera to Diwali. Before Diwali, the election has been concluded. But this is the first time in last 15 years that election is happening after the Chhath Puja, meaning large chunk of these migrated, these all kind of youth, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all are there and they have voted, and the net 6 percentage point increment in turnout. Now, last time it was even in general election and Lok Sabha assembly election, it was 57. Now it is 67. So this
No, but
6%.
you're saying, Pradeep, 1 minute. You need to explain. You're saying that there has been a high voter turnout among youth. Many of them are migrants. As per your survey, a large number of them have voted for the Mahagathbandhan. If the Mahagathbandhan is in the fight, it's because of this youth migrant vote. It has not gone to the Jan Suraj, which many people thought. They've not gone to Prashant Kishor. They've chosen Tejashwi. Am I right?
Absolutely, you are right. You elaborated very correctly. The second thing, now I'm coming to the Mahila. Now, that's the reason why you see that among the male voters, 40 to NDA and 41 to Mahagathbandhan. Wherein female voter, it is 45 to NDA and 40 to Mahagathbandhan, meaning 5 points gap. And this Mahila vote is going to be decisive for sure. This is the reason why you see the difference is this much, and the closer range of, even if you take the worst possible scenario, which is very unlikely, 5% chance I give that scenario, 121 to NDA and 118.
And why did they choose them? Did you ask them why were the Mahilas choosing the NDA? What was the reason most of them gave?
Most of them saying we are voting for Nitish Modi combined. They always say Modi's name alongside the Nitish Kumar's name. And they say कि Nitish Kumar, हम लोग पूछते Nitish Kumar के बारे में आप क्या देखती हैं कि जो भी है उनकी स्वास्थ्य, हेल्थ वगैरह वगैरह, जैसे वो जैसे भी हैं, पलटू हो, स्वास्थ्य की प्रॉब्लम हो वगैरह वगैरह, वो जैसे भी है हमारे लिए बहुत अच्छे.
Okay, the Nemo factor, go ahead.
In your findings, how much was Tejashwi Yadav able to expand his vote base and get in others to vote for the Mahagathbandhan? Apart from the Muslim Yadav combined, how much was Congress able to take him forward? people like VIP, Mukesh Sahni, IP Gupta, what was the impact on ground in your findings?
The impact, everybody has contributed his assets on their own seats where they are contesting to. But having said that, the moment the Tejashwi is declared as Chief Minister candidate, that 3 to 4 percentage point incremental vote came into their fold, which is shifted from Prashant Kishor likely to earlier, in our tracker earlier, Prashant Kishor was scoring around 8 percentage points. In post-poll study, that come down to 4% point, because the moment you...
Pradeep ji, can you go back to what you said, that you will explain what is the condition under which it will be the higher limit with what you have predicted for the MGB and the lower limit with what you predicted for the NDA?
Yes. So
what could happen for those numbers?
I was just explaining that 6% incremental in voter turnout on the account of deceased voters and the migrated permanently, that 48 lakhs has been deleted. Practically, though 66 lakh deleted, but these two contribute about 6 percentage points. And this 4% incremental vote, I see largely 4 out of that 4 large belongs to the youth in the age of 18 to 39 year for age group, where both the Mahagathbandhan is having the edge.
No, you're playing very... You see, I'm trying to make sense of what you're saying. This is a very strange election where for once you're playing safe, suggesting that the youth in large numbers have voted one way and anti-incumbency. The Mahila, largely, of course, above the age of 30, presumably, have voted overwhelmingly for NDA, overwhelmingly or substantially higher. You've got two big demographics. It's almost as if Mahila versus Yuva. This election has become Mahila on one side, Yuva on the other. Yuva keeping Tejashwi afloat, and Mahila keeping the NDA afloat. Having said that, I would have expected one side to pull ahead. 2% normally should give a bigger victory than what you're doing. You're saying they are overall 2% ahead.
No, Rajdeep, if you see that when you say youth, the moment you आप जो यूथ का रेंज 18 to 29 जैसे ही करते हैं तो उसके अंदर जो that 50 become 25. Now among the later part of 25, the NDA is having 1.8, and among the other side, which is the teenager kind of a youth, 18 to 29, their Mahagathbandhan is having the substance. Having said that, it's not that all the youth Mahila is also voting in this manner. No. There also Mahila is voting little more to NDA than to Mahagathbandhan. This is what is making this election and this result.
Two questions come. One, your poll is showing a lot of regional split. Take a look at your numbers. We'll put up in places last time where NDA, BJP in particular did well. This time the Mahagathbandhan is doing slightly better. Champaran is one example we gave. Kosi. And there are places like Kosi. And if you look at the other way around, from what your data suggests, Patliputra and Magad, where last time it was the MGB ahead, this time the situation seems to be changing. It's changing, for example, in Bhojpur. It's almost as if there's a complete reversal. Local anti-incumbency, as per your poll, seems to matter than any statewide anti-incumbency. Am I correct?
Let me tell you, Patliputra Magad, you mentioned that last time Mahagathbandhan did very well, and that too on account of purely LJP dented the prospect of JDU in this region. Largely, when we say Patliputra Magad, this includes the Jamui, the Gaya, the Aurangabad, where large number of seats have been contested by LJP against JDU. In total state, they dented the 33 seats, which is the sizable chunk.
So Lok Janshakti has made a big difference. Lok Janshakti being with the NDA has made a big difference.
In this region, see, I'll tell you this also. Now, if you compare this Lok Janshakti, what had happened last time and this time, last time Lok Janshakti contested separately and secured 6% votes. This time they are aligned with this, meaning they added 6 points to the NDA fold, but VIP contested earlier with NDA, now with Gathbandhan, remove those 2 points from there. So that 6 become 4 in this case. And now when it comes to the Prashant Kishor, whatever Prashant Kishor is getting 4% vote, 2.5 to 3% is coming from the NDA. So that whatever LGP shifted there is more or less null and void.
So you're saying Prashant Kishor is getting more votes of NDA than of Mahagathbandhan?
Of course.
Am I correct?
Of course, you can see. Yes, of course. 75% is getting vote of NDA.
Upper caste?
12%, yes, upper caste and OBC. 12% vote he is getting of Mahagathbandhan and 13% of others.
Okay, what explains this better strike rate of the JDU than BJP?
I mean, the strike rate better, meaning there also, if you see lower range and higher range, it is 56 for lower and higher range. But having said that, JDU is doing better because on those seats, last time it is dented. So on those particular seats, their sentiment is there. See, this time it should not happen the case. And dent meaning last time, see, 75 to 43. I mean, BJP scored 74 seats. To 43 seats for JDU, a substantial difference. But this time, which is not happening, and that sentiment is also play in the game.
So it's not that Nitish Kumar, according to this, is actually pulling the weight of the NDA.
No. It's a. I would say to see, if you see the CM preferential choice, there you will find this answer probably. In CM preferential choice, among this 43% of NDA vote, yes, Nitish Kumar is scoring 22, meaning rest other 21 is scoring other than Nitish Kumar. You're getting my point.
Pradeep ji, last time around in 2020, you had underpolled women. Is there a chance, outside chance is that there is a possibility you could have underpolled Prashant Kishor?
I would say Prashant Kishor के लिए I'm extraordinary confident. And as far as Prashant Kishor, मैं हिंदी में उसको define कर देता हूँ. जो प्रशांत किशोर है उनकी कोशिश जो है वो काबिले तारीफ है, लेकिन मंजिल अभी दूर.
मंजिल उनके लिए अभी दूर है. ये एक प्रश्न में सीमांचल पर आई जस्ट वांट टू ब्रिंग इन. सीमांचल में काफी परिस्थिति, यू नो, द सिचुएशन सीम्स टू बी चेंजिंग वेयर द एमजीबी इज डूइंग मच बेटर. इज देयर नो ओवैसी इंपैक्ट दिस टाइम?
Yes, that's what I say. This time, Musalman and Yadavs has decided not to split their vote at any cost, and that is the reason why I'm telling you. Among the Yadav, see, this is there where the difference make the. When I say the declaring chief minister candidate will always get more incremental vote. But I'm saying not a single person of Yadav has said they are not voting for the.
Okay, but you know there is. Let me throw the final googly question to you. You predicted Bihar last time and got it wrong. You know, the fact was you expected Tejashwi Yadav to have an edge. This time you've given the edge very clearly to the NDA. Once bitten, twice shy. Is Bihar a tough state? 2015 you got it spot on. You were the only person to give the kind of sweep that Nitish and Lalu got. 2020 you got it wrong. That's why Utar Chadav I keep saying. Is 2025, how sure are you of these numbers? Given all that we've seen happening to pollsters in Haryana, in the Lok Sabha, are you dead sure? Because 41 plays 43, correct me if I'm wrong, is within the margin of error. Normally, pollsters give a 2 to 3% margin of error. Are you within that margin of error?
Of course, Rajdeep, even if the worst possible scenario, if you see the our NDA lower range and Mahagathbandhan higher range, it is coming to that point only. Now, as you mentioned about our track record, let me give the full story. I'm not getting into the the bigger debate. I'm simply saying out of 3 Lok Sabha, and this is the third assembly election. Can you, as you mentioned, 2015 we were spot on an assembly election. In 2019, we predicted 39 seats for the NDA. They secured 39 seats. Anybody can predict that. Ravi Shankar.
But is it a tough election? No, Pradeep, nobody does. You see, I am asking you very clearly, is it a tough? When I look at these numbers, somewhere I get a sense, maybe you've underpolled NDA, possible. And maybe they could, with a 2% edge, get more. Or have you underpolled possibly one of the other parties, and thereby it becomes a close race? All I say, do you rule out a hung assembly?
Can I add to that question, Rajdeep?
Yeah,
just
please.
with what Rajdeep said, Pradeep ji, the entire debate was that the Gathbandhan needs an X factor plus MY plus one more. If you look at your micro data, they have that 2% from VIP. And the micro data does seem to suggest that. So they do have that 2% extra. 2 to 4% extra.
Yeah, I'm telling you where they got this incremental vote from.
Right.
2%, as you rightly pointed out, the Malla community. Among the Ravi Dasya, also, if you see that, there they got good 2-3 points more from there.
Exactly. So then, because you had only said, Pradeep ji, that I will only watch out at 2 communities, they will define this election.
Yes,
the non-Jatav Dalits, which are the non-Ravi Dasyas, and then you had said the Malla community, when you came to our show. Now, both of them have been able to take away a bit, a sizable chunk to the MGB has gone. So why is it that they're doing well, yet they are falling short?
No, this chunk is total absolute number for Malla is 4 and for Jatavs is 5. So 9, even if they score 6 or 7 points among the 9, that 31 plus 9, 6 to 7 points, it contribute about 31 plus 6 is 37. And the rest of it, even if they secure 10 to 20% point, the 41% point you will see witness it.
So overall, after having done the exit poll, what according to you has been the X factor? Is it the Yuva?
The caste, Mahila, Yuva. These are the 3 major factors. And most importantly, the clean governance of Nitish Kumar and the honest image of Nitish Kumar has paved the way in favor of BJP despite of 20 years of rule of Nitish Kumar.
Pradeep ji, which side
last
of the
30 seconds, if I
So then in
may,
that case,
had
Nitish
the
is the
Congress
central
been
figure.
able to pull ahead, had the Congress been able to pull in some more numbers, they would have taken the Mahagathbandhan past the victory mark?
Yes, you can say that. You can say that. They are doing, I mean, the strike rate of Mahagathbandhan, among the Mahagathbandhan group, the RJD strike rate is still better than the Congress one.
Right.
So that would have been made the difference.
Pradeep ji, एक आखिरी सवाल. If you can tell us before you go, which side is most favorable or which will happen, the lower side of the Mahagathbandhan or the upper side and vis-a-vis NDA? Which is most probable according to you?
The best possible situation in always in our range is midpoint, which is 130 to 110.
Okay, so essentially you're looking at 131 plays 108, which is not too dissimilar to what happened in 2020, is what Pradeep Gupta is. Your purple is looking very good. You're branding Axis My India. You're moving from studio to studio. This is the new gymnast called Pradeep Gupta. We'll wait and see whether you're still smiling at this time on Friday. I wish you well. And yes, क्या है?
राजदीप एक बार
कभी खुशी कभी गम यार, लाइफ है ये.
अरे कोई टेंशन नहीं राजदीप, फिर से बोलता हूँ, एक्सिस माई इंडिया का ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड, आउट ऑफ 80 polls we could call correctly the 74, 6 times
अरे
we were
74 ठीक है सर कोई आपको ये
तो आप ट्रैक उसकी चिंता ही ना कीजिए, आप स्माइल हमेशा रहेगी. जो आपका कभी कभी थोड़ा सा वो दिखता है तो we could have done better, we could have put more effort, and it's every election here and there is always a good learning and it's a passion. We enjoy this like playing any like a sport.
Okay, we wish you well, Pradeep
You have
Gupta.
to play.
Okay, we'll wish you well. We'll see whether Bihar's pitch proves tricky again or you batted the right way. Appreciate you joining us on that Axis My India poll. I'm joined at this moment by senior BJP leader, MP from Bihar, Rajiv Pratap Rudy joins us. Appreciate your joining us, Mr. Rudy. I'm not sure whether you're in Delhi at the Constitution Club or you're in Patna at the moment or in your constituency in Saran, but welcome to the show. You've seen the numbers, 98 to 118 to the Mahagathbandhan, 121 to 141. Clear edge to the NDA, but not a sweep. What's your sense? Are you worried when you look at these numbers, given that there's only a 2% gap? 2% I know is significant, but it could be within the margin of error.
Well, most of the predictions have been indicating, it's not my prediction, but all of you have been predicting. And this particular prediction also says, so if we average it out, things are good for us. So there's no confusion there. The government would be of NDA. Now, you may be asking that this could switch. I would not not to get into that, whether it can switch, but I am more or less confirmed that the majority is going to vest with the NDA.
Where is the confidence coming from? Why do you believe that the NDA has the edge after 20 years of Nitish Kumar? Why do you believe the NDA has the edge? Incidentally, the BJP, as per the poll, is not doing as well as the JDU.
Can I conclude it why we should be winning? And that is pre-election I used to speak, and I'll just conclude it in 2 minutes. The first aspect is the choice in Bihar was, again, if it was to be thought, was between Narendra Modi and Rahul Gandhi. The choice was between Lalu Yadav and Nitish Kumar. And I'm sure in all the situations which exist in Bihar, choice would have been Narendra Modi and Nitish Kumar. Coming to the third aspect of it, as far as voting is concerned, one aspect which you should remember that in Bihar, one thing is very prominent and very effectively played by every political party, including the Bharatiya Janata Party and all of us to it. It's about the caste. Now, the caste combination which has emerged on the side of the NDA is far more stronger than the caste combination which emerged on RJD and Congress. So you cannot deny that. And that aspect has to be kept in mind, including Tejashwi, who was a spoiler including Chirag, who could have acted as spoiler last time. This is not. So natural gainer has been Janata Dal United, and BJP would be able to retain the seats. And this is overall to the factors, two other factors which I mentioned again. The third aspect, as I said, is about the caste, which is a combination which is positive on the NDA side. The fourth aspect which we are talking is one which we had been talking all throughout. Most of the predictions and thought process in Bihar was prior to this was based and hinged upon Prashant Kishor. Now, as if Prashant Kishor was the real politics in Bihar, he's a good man, he did really hard work, and he took the space of the opposition all throughout 1 year. Even Rajdeep and anyone discussing with me would first start talking about in Bihar politics, how is Prashant Kishor doing, and then discuss as if there was no other political party in Bihar, nor the Congress, nor the BJP, no one. Now, when the elections came, he was nowhere in the elections, and ultimately what has happened, the campaign space which should have been there with the opposition, RJD and the Congress did not exist. Prashant Kishor vanished, and overall, the positive feeling for the NDA. This election, no one has analyzed it this way, but I would put it very strongly, this is the fourth point. And the fifth point, women in Bihar, and I would say it's strange, of course, because people did come back from their working places. But women in Bihar have always stayed back, and they stay back, look after the homes. And the people, large number of people who had migrated outside the state during Lalu Yadav's time have not come back, or may have come back partially. So the women in large numbers. And women in Bihar, during the absence of their male members, have been looked after by Nitish Kumar very well. Please remember this. Again, I would remind you all, Rajdeep, the women in Bihar, in absence of the male member going out, have been looked after very well. They have a faith in the government. They have belief in the government. Children got, girls got cycle, girls got clothes, and women got self-help groups, which is a very powerful tool in Bihar, did well. So all these factors are some of the factors you can
Rudy ji, if, I'll get Maria to answer, but, if all that you said is true, then you should win a landslide. You see, that's my point. It's turning out to be a seat it's turning out to be a much closer contest. That's the only puzzle in a way as per these numbers. But go ahead, Maria.
Yes, Mr. Rudy, also when it is about preferred chief ministerial candidate, the BJP doesn't have anyone in that list. It is still Tejashwi Yadav at 34% and Nitish Kumar at 22%. Do you think that the state BJP, because you are a member of parliament, you have 39 MPs in all the entire NDA, you need more a pan-Bihar BJP leader?
So, of course, we never said that we had a chief minister candidate. And we don't claim so, because we said Nitish Kumar is our candidate. So 22 plus another 22 for Nitish Kumar from the BJP side. So that takes it to 44, if you have not put that figures there. So what I would say that today Nitish Kumar is the face of BJP in Bihar as far as the chief minister is concerned. And we have openly said it. And I put a tagline in Bihar saying Nitish Kumar the, hai aur rahenge. And this went on in Bihar for a quite bit. So that aspect, individual, you see, Bihar is not voting individual. There are a coalition of parties. There's RJD, there is Congress, there is NDA, which has BJP, JDU, LJP, Hum Party, and so forth and so on. So to say that it was hinged on two individuals, Nitish Kumar and Tejashwi Yadav, it is not true. It was overall a political combination. So you are correct absolutely when you say that there was no chief minister face. We still are not projecting any chief minister face. We have said that in this campaign, Nitish Kumar is our face, and that is all.
No, so he will be chief minister. Let's I keep hearing, well, why not just say very clearly, if we get a majority, Nitish ji is the chief minister. What is this face, suddenly face word? Say he's your CM candidate.
Yeah, I think you're getting it. I'm not saying face. I'm saying he's the chief minister. What word should? Tell me what I should say and I'll repeat it with you. He's the chief minister again.
Rajiv Pratap Rudy says that if the NDA wins, Nitish Babu will be chief minister.
2 months.
Okay.
Yes, I've said it. You tell me the sentence, I would repeat it. But why do you say that I'm mixing words? No, I've never minced words. I've always said that he's the chief minister face. And now that the no is being added, still I'm saying that.
Okay, Gaurav Sawant.
Mr. Rudy, why is it that the youth are not seen to be voting for the BJP and the NDA as far as this Access My India poll is concerned? They're more attracted towards the Mahagathbandhan. So where is your strategy not working there, sir?
I would disagree there. And if the youth has voted, now, you have concluded that women have voted for the NDA, so that is taken care of 70% majority voting for women. I think that is concluded. When you come to the youth, now when you're talking about the youth, please remember Bihar is Bihar. I never talked about my caste that I'm a Thakur in Bihar ever in my 30 years of politics. But the day I've started talking, I feel that I've got more recognition in Bihar than ever I had. So similarly, even if a small youth group who is there in Bihar, please get back to Bihar and look at, they don't have a national philosophy of a Gen Z getting a change in Bihar. They are all entrenched and attracted toward their own caste group and mechanism. If youth has come up, youth would have come out in NDA favor also, because there is a caste combination which attracts Chirag Paswan, which attracts Jitan Ram Majhi, which attracts Kushwaha, which attracts
very
Rudy.
honest.
So,
I like the idea that we have an honest leader who accepts Baki sab kuch chodo. In the end, it's all about caste. But Javed Ansari, you want to ask a question to your old friend Rajiv Pratap Rudy.
Rudy ji, do you think the BJP would have done better if they had projected somebody like you as
No,
the chief
I'm not
ministerial
a very
phase?
capable man. Please don't confuse me. I'm not in the game. God has been kind. Seventh term in parliament. I'm very fair in Bihar. I love Bihar. I love Bihari. So I'm not in the prayer. No
But
projection
Rajiv
works because
Pratap,
I
Rudy, on a
don't have a
serious
majority
note.
in caste. Please,
But
let's
on
get
a
back.
serious note, at the back of that. Okay, no, serious question. No, he made fun
to
of
be
it.
projected.
But okay, sir, on a serious
Numbers in
note,
Bihar to be
you
projected, so
made
that's
light
fine.
of it, but the sheer fact, you did really well, which is the Bharatiya Janata Party in 2020. This was your election to project a chief ministerial face. You know, one tends to forget that this is also an election where the next line of leaders are getting bloodied in. You have the likes of Prashant Kishor who are querying the pitch. The likes of Samrat Chaudhary, who one would have thought would have been the face of the BJP, is now fading along with this election, at least on ground. Do you admit you have failed as a party to project a chief ministerial face or a face for your party on ground, sir?
Just I want to tell you, it's a very good suggestion. Thanks, no one caught on to this idea to project a chief minister in BJP. Otherwise, we would have been completely doomed because Nitish Kumar has still a lot of credibility and following. So please, I'm very happy that no
That's
one
some
took
kind of
that bait that
acceptance.
BJP should project a chief minister. We are not prepared for it. We are not groomed for it.
But
And the
Rajivji,
day
who is taking the BJP forward in Bihar in the next election?
Please.
There is a complete
So
vacuum.
let the next election come. We'll decide about it. Bihar is going to see a churning in Bihar next 5 years. So let's not get involved in the next election. We talk
Churning,
about
sir, these are big
2025
words.
first. No,
But
I'm
quintessential
very
Rajiv
happy
Pratap
about future.
Rajiv
Yes.
Pratap, Rudy, I
Extreme
want to say thank you to you for coming and being quite honest. I now know why you won the Constitution Club election, because you were able to, as a result, also get votes, not just BJP votes, but from the other side, because you're a charming man and you've done a lot of good for the Constitution Club. You built an excellent gym.
Thank you so much. Thank you,
That's but good to see you on the show and good to see you smiling. Who knows where you will be next? But for now, for joining us, thanks very much.
Happy as I am with friends like you around, and we are all happy. All the best, and let's wait for the 36 hours for the grand show to happen. Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll wait to see what happens. But good to see a leader openly talking about caste, openly accepting that if Nitish was not projected, we'd be doomed. And I think that's an important element there. At the moment, we are now going to look at poll of polls because lots of polls have come. We've just heard what the Axis My India poll has said. I'll repeat those numbers and then we'll go to the other polls. Remember, Axis My India is projecting 121 to 141 out of 243 for the NDA and 98 to 118 to the RJD. Midpoint is 108 plays 131. That's what Axis My India says. I'm also joined by Amitabh Tiwari, who's been polling voter vibe. Amitabh, please feel free, first of all, to tell us, aapka number kya hai? Final number is what? Are you somewhere close to what Pradeep said? I saw your numbers also giving an edge to the NDA, but can you give us your numbers in terms of seats at the moment, Amitabh?
Yeah, so in terms of vote share, we have NDA at 45% and Mahagathbandhan at 42%.
So you're giving a 3% edge. Pradeep Gupta is giving 2%.
2%, yeah, but it is all within the margin of error, right? Because plus minus 3% is the margin of error.
So can I just get that right? Because Pradeep Gupta also is 43 plays 41. All of you are saying that it is within the margin of error. Are you also saying it's a tight contest?
See, because we have all discussed that it's a hyper-local contest seat by seat. The BJP has not denied tickets to a lot of MLAs. And that has created some level of anger against the MLAs who are not very popular. Secondly, apart from this Mahila Rozgar Yojana, there is no overall state level theme in this election. So if you see in terms of seats, what we are saying is 125 to 145 for NDA and 95 to 115 for the Mahagathbandhan.
Can you just repeat those numbers?
125 to 145 for NDA.
So your halfway mark is 135 for the NDA.
Yeah, and 95 to 115 for the Mahagathbandhan. So 105 for them.
So roughly in the same range as 2020 broadly, 5-7 seats here and there.
Amongst females, NDA enjoys a 10% lead according to us.
10%?
A 10%. But amongst males, the Mahagathbandhan enjoys a 4% lead. So on a net basis, there is a 6% lead in gender for the NDA, which translates into a 3% vote share lead, because this time even the votes polled are same.
And which will be the single largest party?
Single largest party in our survey, JDU and RJD are tied.
So in your survey also JDU getting more seats than the BJP?
Yes. It's like 65 JDU plus minus 5, 60 for BJP, and then 10 for others plus minus 5.
You know, it's fascinating to look at that. You know, that's one big difference from 2020. The balance of power between the two allies, Rajat, is clearly shifting. I mean, are you surprised at that? If these numbers hold, this is a big if. This is the second pollster or third pollster who's come to us who said that JDU is possibly doing better or certainly as well as the BJP. That time, of course, Chirag Paswan was used, many believe, by the BJP to downsize Nitish. That's not happened this time. But it shows the regional party matters more than the national party in a state election.
Well, there are just too many conclusions that you're drawing.
So tell me, what is your conclusion if these numbers hold?
First and foremost, that sentiment is coming in that this is the farewell election of Nitish Kumar, and lot of supporters of Nitish who had been suffering through fatigue and all of that. This time there was a sense of, satisfaction that this man has contributed to Bihar fundamentally. And I think that is something which is rallying the support for his core base, excited, going to the elections, hitting the elections properly, not in fighting. There was no disturbance in the seat allocation ticket distribution of JDU. Cleanest ticket distribution of any party in this election was JDU. One of the finest works that the current national president and the state unit, all of them got together and they were able to manage it, which also resulted in nobody, doing friendly fight and this and that on the ground. And this was reverberating. And I believe BJP as a party, and I've said this before, and I concur with Rajiv Pratap Rudy ji also, BJP, some of their fundamental deputy chief ministerial candidates, they've toyed with 3 or 4 by now.
That's right.
None of them have actually stuck on to basically fill in that leadership vacuum to drive the party forward. And also keep in mind, Bihar is one state where historically RSS has been the weakest. There is some, the taseer hai Bihar, it remains socialist. And this is the reason why BJP is not able to go beyond that 18%, 20% mark fundamentally and take it to a level where they can claim that, that is the numero uno party.
You raise a very important point, because that is a big distinction, many believe, between Bihar and Uttar Pradesh. Yes. And Uttar Pradesh, the BJP has built itself up for the last 30, 35 years, particularly post the Babri Masjid demolition, the Ram Rath Yatra, and there was a polarization that took place that eventually countered and many believe conquered the mandalization that took place.
But that disintegrated in 2024, Rajdeep.
Sorry?
That disintegrated in 2024 Uttar Pradesh elections.
We don't know whether, the word disintegration would be a very strong word to use.
No, with what you're saying, with what you suggested, the results
I think you have to look at it over the arc of the last 30, 35 years. The BJP has emerged as the #1 party of Uttar Pradesh by some distance. On the other hand, in Bihar, the BJP has struggled to emerge as a consistent #1 party. Because you tell me why. Tell me why.
Look at the figure that we are one of the poorest people of the world. Yes. You fight a sub-Saharan Africa. What do poor people live by? Ideology. And the fact that we have had anti-zamindari movements. Remember, after 1990, all these leaders owe themselves to a man called Karpuri Thakur.
So are you saying that the BJP is still seen as an upper caste party in Bihar?
Of course.
No, is it still seen?
Yes, it is.
Despite the fact that they've tried to consciously project OBC leaders.
Where is Kishor Prasad ji? Where is Renu Devi ji? Renu Devi ji is the face of the Mahila voter campaign? You tell me. Who is the face of all this?
They need to also rise up to the occasion. They were given
one second, sir. 1 second.
He's making it that they should rise to the occasion. Go ahead.
Can I speak, sir?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Please fundamentally respect the fact that UP has not had the anti-feudal movements that Central and South Bihar have had. Please remember Arvind Narayan Das defining this whole area. Please remember Champaran and Peasant Satyagraha. Please remember the only place where there is a sadhu called Sajanam Saraswati, who is actually a Communist Party sadhu, and he becomes the leader of the Quit India movement. So Bihar is a place where Kisani is not about the rich, our land holding is the poorest, and the fact the women voters that you're talking about are landless women laborers.
Is that where, given what you've said, what is interesting, because many believe, Javed Ansari, that was the opportunity lost by Lalu Prasad. When Lalu Prasad won exactly 30 years ago, that big victory in 1995, it was seen as a victory of the poor and the oppressed under the name of social justice. We have to end the rule of the upper caste. Lalu Prasad eventually turned the Bahujanization or the Mandalization of Bihar into the Yadavization. And therefore, Tejashwi is in some way or the other paying the price for that. Lalu is both his asset and liability. He brings that 14-15% Yadav vote with him, but he also thereby is unable to build the umbrella coalition of the poor. That was the reason why Lalu Prasad won.
And
then in
Nitish
Bihar,
succeeded.
to get a majority, remember Nitish succeeded but never got a majority on his own.
Yes.
So Nitish also,
Always
let's be very
needed
clear,
yes.
Nitish also needs the BJP. Just as Lalu Prasad probably also needs props along with him to actually go above the, or Tejashwi needs props to go above the halfway mark. He may be number one at the end of this election, but he's not anywhere close to a majority. Is there fundamentally a problem that Bihar has been unable to come out of a clear Mandal trap into Mandal 2.0 and build a wider coalition? None of them are able to do it. And Nitish has perhaps been the most successful in a way.
Correct. So Lalu's biggest failing was that he mistook the Mandal mandate for a mandate for himself and for Yadavization. Right. When he and Nitish Kumar were together, before the split, they romped home. Even after the split in 2014, when Mr. Modi had stormed the country, yes. In 2015, they defeated the BJP hands down in Bihar. It's only when they split. So it's only, you know, every time Lalu makes this mistake, Lalu has been unable to expand the bouquet, unable to bring in more castes. He excluded. Why did Nitish Kumar break away from Lalu? Look at the kind of views that Nitish Kumar has or has had about the BJP and the RSS. But why is he broken away? Because there was absolutely no room for him.
Can I therefore ask you, one of the interesting aspects is Nitish's strength actually that he doesn't come from a numerically strong caste. Thereby, he doesn't intimidate the other groups. It's very strange that the leader with the 15% caste base, the Yadavs, attracts the Muslims but no one else. Yeah. And that could go back to arresting Advani and we can go back to the Rath Yatra. Yeah. But Nitish Kumar has been able to cultivate a larger umbrella coalition of the EBCs.
Yes, precisely. His social background of coming from Kurmi caste matters because in everyday experience, you do not find rest of the OBCs and Dalits facing a very antagonistic presence of the Kurmis, unlike the Yadavs who are numerically and also in many areas they have land holding. So that is one. Two, Nitish Kumar also changes the reference because then Lalu faces a Kurmi, a backward vis-a-vis the others. It is not Jagannath Mishra or Bhagwat Jha, etc. Right? So that is why you find that rest of the OBCs, non-Yadav OBCs, EBCs, the reference is always OBC versus OBC, and that's also hinders the way of the BJP in Bihar.
It's interesting that we are still mentioning Lalu Prasad, even though he's not anywhere in this election, no poster, nothing. But Lalu ki, as a BJP leader said, even if Lalu was not there, we'd have to invent him.
After life of Lalu,
to make the ghosts of Lalu have to remain. Yes, Maria.
But Rajdeep, Tejashwi Yadav has managed to expand and go beyond MY as well. He did experiment to some extent last time around. This time, if the Mahagathbandhan touches that 41%, it also means that the Yadavs can come together along with the Mallas. Then other EBC mobilization can also happen, something that Akhilesh has managed to do in the neighboring state.
Okay, I just want to give, there's one more poll that has come. Today's Chanakya, who also has got the occasional poll right and some wrong, as they all do. So his poll is showing NDA 44%, Mahagathbandhan 38%, others 18%. So a 6% lead as per today's Chanakya, a 6% lead to the NDA over the RJD. I'm waiting for his numbers, but what it clearly shows is the range at the moment. If you do a poll of polls, is coming from 2% to about 6%. In fact, 6% is possibly one of the highest that we've seen in terms of lead. He's giving a much larger percentage to others in terms of 18%. So broadly what you're seeing, there isn't a single poll, credibly done poll, which is giving a clear edge to the Mahagathbandhan. All the polls are giving a clear edge at the moment to the NDA. Amitabh Tiwari, you want to tell us, is there one particular factor that is operating when pollsters have seen? Is it the Mahila factor, the Yuva? As per Pradeep Gupta's Axis poll, Yuva with Mahagathbandhan, Mahilas with the NDA. Did you also see that?
Yeah, I mean, Yuva also has Yuva Mahila and Yuva Purush. So Yuva Mahila is with NDA in our surveys or trackers, and Yuva Purush is with Mahagathbandhan. Overall, male is with Mahagathbandhan anyways. But I think there are one theme which has emerged is that since the campaign of JSP,
Jan Suraj.
Jan Suraj, I mean, withered in the end. This election has become a highly bipolar election. Others have fallen below 20% if our numbers are correct.
You were doing a tracker. Was Prashant Kishor tracking better 3 months ago compared
Of course,
to today?
he was at 9.7% at one point of time. So let's
That was
say
the
10%.
highest in your poll?
Yeah, so let's say 10%, now down to 5%, which means this 5% which he was able to win away in the form of youth has moved back. Some of them have moved back to Mahagathbandhan, and some of the upper caste voters have moved back to BJP.
But Pradeep's
That's why
poll,
we've seen a high...
but Amitabh, Pradeep's poll seems to suggest the 4% that Jan Suraj has, 3.5% is actually coming from the NDA and upper caste vote.
A large percentage.
He said 3.5.
And essentially what has happened is that's why we've also seen very high turnout, mobilization from both NDA and Mahagathbandhan to its core supporters, both hoping that these alliances are likely to win. Okay. So others have reduced to almost...
So Tejashwi Yadav, for him, this would have been his best chance to move forward after 2020 had he got support from the Congress party. You know, when he and Rahul Gandhi initially were together, but had they moved together, the upper caste votes, the Congress mobilization, perhaps he would have been past that 122 mark. That unfortunately did not happen. Rahul Gandhi missing in good 60
so much time on a
days.
wasteful issue of SIR.
So
he kept lurking on this issue, which was non-issue on the ground. And for 50 days he was missing from the scene. So how do you build up a momentum around a campaign?
Precisely. So that is what seems to have led. That was the opportunity missed, because had that happened, you know, Tejashwi Yadav could have well been past the 122 mark, point 1.2. Perhaps Tejashwi Yadav made a mistake by giving away so many seats to the Congress and others in these elections.
No, I disagree.
It's very easy, and despite my abundant affection for Gaurav, a bit lazy, you just pin it all on one party. Allow me to finish. The fact that they weren't able to sew up an alliance in the manner that they ought to have is not the fault of one party alone. Being the single largest party, the bigger party, alliance partner, even RJD has.
Yeah, but I think what we are clear, Javed, is between the Vote Adhikar Yatra, that entire 5 or 6 weeks where you needed to build up momentum, possibly around an issue like Rozgar and not SIR. All of us went on the ground. We didn't see SIR resonating as a poll issue. Absolutely. You know, it resonated in TV studios, but it was clearly not resonating on the ground. As the Israelis said once about Yasser Arafat, he never missed an opportunity to miss an opportunity. The Congress party, again, may have to answer that, but you know how it is. They will clutch to straws if they win, as per one poll, at least 17 to 19 seats. Let's turn to some of our political guests, and we'll give you a poll of polls in a moment. We've had the Chanakya poll, we've had Voter Vibe, we've had Access My India. We also hope to get the poll from C Voter. Syed Laleb Akram, National Spokesperson, RJD, Rajiv Ranjan, National Spokesperson, JDU, Syed Zafar Islam, National Spokesperson, BJP, Kumar Saurabh Singh, National Spokesperson, Jan Suraj. I want quick comments from each of you. All these polls are showing clearly a victory for the NDA alliance at the moment. Syed Zafar Islam, are you completely going to sleep well for the next 2 nights? Or are you worried because pollsters have got such a poor reputation in recent times, some of them at least, that you will also have a few sleepless nights? 2 or 3% तो कहीं भी जा सकता है.
Rajdeep, you are a veteran. We are watching you for long, and you have been watching me for last 10-15 years. We exactly know what does exit poll mean for us, because we do not rely entirely on exit poll. We do not rely on exit poll at all. We rely based on what feedback we get from our booth level karyakartas, and booth level karyakartas does give us very solid picture, and the sample size is also very large. Unlike the sample size of this exit poll, where they have very small sample size compared to the sampling method we use. So our understanding is that we will not get less than 160 seats, and that is something which we are extremely confident. But of course, this is the number which we are.
That's exactly what just now. That's exactly what a short while ago today's Chanakya has given you. 160. Go ahead.
plus minus 5, that is something which is always, because we can't be 100% accurate, but based on the feedback what we have, we anticipate that we will get around 160 seats plus minus 5. That could be it vary, and based on the reason why I'm saying that the Mahagathbandhan, no matter what they say, but the receptiveness in terms of people's eye was always there for Sushashan Babu and the Vikas Purush. So for the Honorable Prime Minister as well as for the Honorable Chief Minister, because they feel that in the last 20 years what they have delivered is something which they can see from their own eyes, that in terms of a governance model, something which is acceptable to them. They are very happy, unlike the Jungle Raj model they have seen. Away from that, they have also seen the kind of development activities which has happened in Bihar. I mean, you can travel from one city to another city in less than 3, 4, 5 hours, which was never even we had dreamt when we were young.
But Syed Zafar Islamji, the big question is very clear. You're still relying on a Nitish Kumar to pull you through. You don't have a single face in the Bharatiya Janata Party to put forth, despite you being the second largest party in 2020. This election was yours to at least consolidate. This is also an election which will blood in the next line of leadership. And lo and behold, the BJP has absolutely no one.
Well, the Honorable Home Minister, in interview to some of the television channel, has very clearly emphasized that there is absolutely no vacancy as far as Chief Minister is concerned. So where is the question? And there is absolutely no headroom for
I don't think you've got my question.
We have enough number of benches.
Sir, you haven't got my question. Yes, it is Nitish Kumar this election, but in all probability, this is Nitish Kumar's last election for your political outfit, for the Bharatiya Janata Party who wants to consolidate in Bihar. Who is your face? Who are you going into the next election with? You have a Prashant Kishor, you have a Chirag Paswan, you have a Tejashwi Yadav. Who is the BJP's face, sir?
Priti ji, please have patience. What I'm trying to tell you that we have a huge bench strength. We have now one. We don't have the concern that one face is important or is very popular in Bihar. We have, as I said, we have a huge bench strength, and we can choose anybody when it comes to choosing a chief ministerial face.
Let me get more voices. Let me get more voices in. Syed Lareb Akram. This is almost a replay of 2020, so near yet so far. If the numbers hold, particularly of some of the polls, आप 100 के करीब हैं, but 120 नहीं पहुंच रहे. The magic mark is 122. Do you believe, therefore, the RJD has its limitations and your allies are unable to pull you up? क्या आप मानते हैं, नहीं मानते? Do you accept or not?
नहीं, बहुत शुक्रिया आपका राजदीप. मैं कल पूरे दिन बूथ पर था और हमारे बाकी सारे वर्कर भी बूथ पर थे. और जो सैंपल साइज के साथ ये एग्जिट पोल निकाला गया, मैं बिल्कुल ये नहीं कहता उनकी मेहनत उनको मुबारक हो, लेकिन सिरे से मैं खारिज करना चाहूंगा क्योंकि जमीन की हकीकत बिल्कुल अलग है, पोलिंग पैटर्न अलग है. और जिस तरह से हम लोगों ने युवाओं को, महिलाओं को और दूसरे जाति, दूसरे खेमे और दूसरे वर्ग के लोगों को हमने एक साथ आते देखा है, ये बहुत रेयर ऐसा नजारा था बिहार के अंदर में, जो तमाम हरामखोर और नकाब, बुरखा, कम्युनल मॉन्गरिंग से लेकर, हेट्रेड से लेकर, क्राइम, गोलीबारी, सब कुछ करने के बाद भी एनडीए की हालत, छटपटाहट आपको साफ दिख रही होगी. इनके पास मुख्यमंत्री
आपके नंबर क्या है?
वी आर गोइंग टू फॉर्म गवर्नमेंट. हम सरकार बनाने जा रहे हैं और हमारे नंबर बहुत अच्छे हैं और हमारे नंबर चौंकाने वाले आएंगे. आप याद रखिएगा मेरे लफ्ज को, मैं मुकरूंगा नहीं, नंबर चौंकाने वाले आएंगे. और भारतीय जनता पार्टी और एनडीए के लोग थोड़ी देर खुश हो ले, उनको खुश होने दिया जाए. फैज की वो लाइन है ना, चंद रोज और मेरी जान फकत चंद ही रोज, बस 2 दिन की बात है, उसके बाद जो हकीकत है उनके सामने आएगी.
अरे वाह. Okay, we are getting some breaking news. Today's Chanakya, yet another pollster who's been polling for 20-25 years, his numbers are out. He's actually giving the NDA a big win, projected to get 160 plus minus 12 seats, rather large margin. MGB projected to get 77 plus minus 12 seats. So this is a landslide projection. So we've got Pradeep Gupta suggesting a much tighter race. Amitabh Tiwari also comfortable for NDA but in a tighter contest. You've got today's Chanakya now predicting just 77 for the Mahagathbandhan and a whopping 160 for the NDA. That's a big call there, but that is a call that's been done. with keeping in mind, of course, his vote share, which is a 6% lead at the moment to the NDA. Rajiv Ranjan ji, ये जो चुनाव नतीजे आ रहे हैं, ये आप किस तरह से देखते हैं? कोई रेस है कि जेडीयू और बीजेपी में कि कौन पार्टी नंबर 1 उन दोनों के बीच बने इस गठबंधन में? क्या ये इंपॉर्टेंट रहेगा या नहीं कि किसको, आप दोनों 101 सीट लड़ रहे हैं, पर किसको ज्यादा सीटें आएगी? इज दैट अ फैक्टर?
राजदीप जी, मैं एक ही बात कहना चाहूंगा, यहाँ स्ट्राइक रेट एनडीए के कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट्स में किसका बड़ा होगा, इससे ज्यादा जो महत्वपूर्ण है कि बिहार में अगर कोई कामयाबी का इंडेक्स हो तो उस पर 1 to 9 एनडीए दिखे, उसके बाद गिनती शुरू हो। मतदाताओं का मूड तो ऐसा ही कहता है, बहुत ही बड़ा फासला हो। ये लैंडस्लाइड विक्ट्री की तरफ ये चुनाव जाता हुआ दिख रहा है। और जफर भाई ने भी आपको कहा, और हम भी कन्वेंशनल जो मेथड्स हैं, जो जनता के नब्ज को भांपने का, उसी को आजमाते रहे। वॉर रूम से लगातार मॉनिटरिंग होती रही है, लगातार अलग अलग जो हमारी पार्टी के बूथ लेवल जो वर्कर्स हैं और हमारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट्स के जो बूथ लेवल जो एक्टिविस्ट हैं, उनसे बातचीत के बाद एक जो राय बनी है, वो कहीं से भी 160 प्लस से कम की बात तो नहीं। लेकिन हम ये देखते हैं कि जब एक बार फासला बढ़ने लगता है तो ये फासला बढ़ता हुआ कहीं 2010 की तरफ नहीं ले। सबसे बड़ी बात क्या है, चुनाव
बढ़ रहा है राजीव रंजन जी, जो आप कह रहे हैं फासला बढ़ रहा है, जो आंकड़े एग्जिट पोल में आ रहे हैं और एक्सेस माई इंडिया के ही आ रहे हैं, वो तो दिखा रहे हैं कि केवल 5% महिलाओं में आपको अगर ज्यादा मिल रहा है, तो युवाओं में वो महागठबंधन एक बड़े तरीके से आगे लेकर जा रहा है। और सीमांचल हो, कोसी हो, वहां सब एमजी महागठबंधन एनडीए से आगे है।
नहीं, मुझे ऐसा लगता है, आपने टुडे चाणक्य को भी अभी डिस्कस किया, एक्सिस इंडिया का भी आया, और 1 दर्जन अलग अलग एजेंसीज ने कल भी अपने सर्वेस जारी। अगर पोल ऑफ पोल्स अगर हम देखें तो ये फासला 5% 6% से कम का तो ओवरऑल होना नहीं है। इसलिए एक्सिस बाय इंडिया अगर ये 2% का फासला दिखाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, हम ये मानते हैं कि पोल ऑफ पोल्स यही बताते हैं कि 5 to 6% का फासला होगा, और 5 to 6 का सीट कन्वर्शन जो है वो बहुत ही बड़ा होगा। और ये फासला इतना बड़ा है,
थोड़ा डर लगता है। पिछले 3 चुनाव में हर पोल गलत हुआ है बिहार के लिए। जो पोल कहता है बिहार में बिल्कुल उल्टा होता है, थोड़ा तो डर लग रहा होगा, थोड़ा सा।
देखिए प्रीति जी, 2010 वोटर टर्नआउट बेहतर हुआ, वोटर्स फिर उससे थोड़ा बढ़े 2015 में, 2020 में थोड़ा ही बढ़े, वो पॉइंट पे बढ़े लेकिन बढ़े। और 2010 के बाद हर बार नीतीश कुमार के नेतृत्व में सरकार बनती रही। इस बार तो ये बड़ा इजाफा है। और दूसरा क्या सबसे बड़ा जो फैक्टर है वो है महिलाएं जब भी बढ़ चढ़ करके आई, तो वीमेन एम्पावरमेंट के फील्ड में जो नीतीश कुमार जी ने काम किए, उसको लेकर आज के फैसले से तो ये एक बड़ा अंतर जरूर आ गया। लेकिन इसके पहले भी आप अगर देखें तो 2005, 2010, 2015, 2020
सर अगर इतना काम किया होता, और मैं मानता हूं कि उन्होंने बहुत काम किया है, फिर 10,000 रुपए देने की 1 हफ्ते चुनाव के पहले क्या जरूरत थी? अगर इतना काम हुआ था 20 साल में, तो फिर 10,000 देने की क्या जरूरत थी? चुनाव के बाद दे देते। ये भी है कि कहीं ना कहीं आपको भी एंटी इनकम्बेंसी नजर आई थी। इस बात से आप मुकर नहीं सकते, ये सच्चाई है। थकावट हो, कुछ भी कहे, 10,000 रुपए आपने वोट खरीदी की तरह दिए।
देखिए, आप भी बिहार में घूमे, आपको पता नहीं कहाँ एंटी इनकम्बेंसी दिखा होगा, लेकिन जब आपस में जब बैठेंगे और बातें होंगी, आप स्वीकार करेंगे बिहार में प्रो इनकम्बेंसी थी। नीतीश कुमार जी के चेहरे, उनकी स्वीकार्यता, उनकी अपरिहार्यता, ये हिंदी के थोड़े
नहीं, मैं आपकी बात से, that's an interesting point. 20 years in power, and you still don't see the anger that perhaps you see against other leaders across the country. Something that Nitish Kumar has done, maybe his persona, clearly suggests that he's not the kind of person that people seem to be easily angry with, which you need for anti-incumbency. But Kumar Saurabh Singh is joining us, national spokesman. Jan Suraj, you had a question, Maria.
And Rajdeep, which was there in 2020. So that means Nitish Kumar has covered quite a ground in the last 5 years, from anger to what the voters are seeing as a likable leader who delivered and perhaps gave them Bihari Asmita to several Biharis outside Bihar and several other things. But a question to the Jan Suraj spokesperson, did Prashant Kishor overestimate his reach in Bihar? What started as good buzz around him, did it start declining the moment he said that he won't contest? And it will be Jan Suraj the party, not Prashant Kishor the man.
Okay, Maria, good evening and good evening to everyone. And like every other spokesperson, I'll try and speak in Hindi so that when I'll share your video, more and more people of Bihar can watch this and listen to what I'm saying. Maria, first of all, this is the biggest change that I can notice, that you would not have seen more than 3 rows in your analysis since maybe, after 2010. There was NDA, there was Mahagathbandhan, and there was other. There is a new word called GSP which is appearing here. That's the biggest change I can observe. दूसरा, मरिया, एक चीज नोटिस आपने नहीं किया है और कई लोगों ने नोटिस नहीं किया कि कल 6:30 बजे तक, इनफैक्ट लंबी लंबी कतारें सीमांचल से लेकर उत्तर बिहार और दक्षिण बिहार के बूथों पर थी। 6:30 बजे तक पोल हुआ और जब मतदान चल रहा था तब सबने अपना जो है एनालिसिस दे दिया कि एनडीए जीत गया। भाई, किससे बात कर लिया आपने? किससे आपकी बात हो गई जिससे ये नंबर आपने प्रेडिक्ट कर लिया दूसरे चरण का भी, और आपने पूरे के पूरे 243 सीटों की एनालिसिस आपने दे दी और आपने कह दिया कि एनडीए की सरकार बन गई बिहार में? अगर ये आपका पैमाना है एग्जिट पोल का, तो देन आई हैड सेड अर्लियर कि एक
सौरभ जी, एक्सेस माय इंडिया का तो अभी आया है।
No, 1 minute. We did not do the exit poll yesterday for that very reason. The exit poll was not done for that very reason. So I just want to make that clear, but go ahead.
ओके, राजदीप जी, एक और बात मैं आपको बहुत शालीनता के साथ कह रहा हूं कि जो भी जनता ने तय किया है जनसुराज के लिए, हम वोट चोरी और ईवीएम हैक हो गया ऐसा कुछ नहीं चिल्लाने वाले हैं। दूसरा, मैं कॉन्फिडेंट हूं, जनसुराज ये कॉन्फिडेंट है। आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू प्रेडिक्ट व्हाट इज गोइंग टू बी द नंबर ऑफ सीट, बट मेरा वोट परसेंटेज डबल डिजिट में होगा। और मैं ऐसा क्यों कह रहा हूं? ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ फैक्ट्स, ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ डेटा। लेट मी पुट इट दिस वे, 1977 पहला चुनाव था जब हो हल्ला के साथ हुआ था, वो साइलेंट वोट नहीं था, इस बार का साइलेंट वोट है। कितना प्रतिशत मतदान हुआ था 1977 में? 50.5%। जब 214 सीटें आई जो है जनता पार्टी को और 55 सीट में कांग्रेस निपट गई। अगला चुनाव 2005, बहुत बड़ा चेंज था, उसके बाद 10 में अपार बहुमत 206 सीटें, कितना परसेंट वोट हुआ? 51%। Next, come to 2020. I'll not waste my time. 2020, again, 57% was the vote percentage. What is the number now? It's close to almost 69, 68%. And one figure that you all are missing. Last election में 58% युवाओं की भागीदारी थी, इस बार वो 71% है. I'm putting the record straight here. 13% rise vis-a-vis 2020 to 2025. This is the number you can quote anywhere.
No. On what basis? No, just a minute. On what basis are you saying 13% youth have voted?
Yes,
there is
71%. I knew that this question will arise.
No, but where? The EC hasn't given you the data.
Yes, I'll tell you. We have our own mechanism, and this number I have quoted, this is for first stage. So you can extrapolate this and you can keep an average number.
ठीक, ये बताइए, प्रशांत किशोर जी ने ये कहा था कि अगर नीतीश कुमार के 25 से ज्यादा आ गए तो वो ये जनसुराज पार्टी में नहीं रहेंगे या ये काम नहीं करेंगे। हर एग्जिट पोल नीतीश कुमार को बिल्कुल पोल पोजीशन में नंबर 1 दिखा रहा है, ऑलमोस्ट जेडीयू को। ऐसे में प्रशांत किशोर क्या करेंगे कि उनका सारा आंकड़ा गलत निकल गया?
गौरव जी, सॉरी, वो ऑडियो चला गया था। इफ यू कैन क्विकली रिपीट व्हाट यू आस्क्ड।
You know, Prashant Kishor had said in case Nitish Kumar gets anything more than 25, then he is not going to do what he is doing in politics. He'll, what's to the effect that he'll shut shop. Nitish Kumar looks in the best position to win elections and become the next chief minister. For the 10th time take oath as chief minister. What will Prashant Kishor do should this happen?
Gaurav ji, again with full humility, I'm saying Prashant Kishor has not gone back what he has said. He said हम सबसे पहले अपनी सूची जारी करेंगे, हम किस्तें जारी करेंगे. तो अगर उन्होंने कहा है कि 25 सीटें नहीं आएंगी, तो उन्होंने ये इमोशन के आधार पर नहीं कहा है. मुझे ऐसा पूरा विश्वास है कि कल परसों जब रिजल्ट आएगा, तब आपको एक बहुत बड़ा सरप्राइज इसलिए दिखेगा कि आप 40 लाख, जो मैं कह रहा था और बीच में बात रह गई, 40 लाख प्रवासी और उनका परिवार, उनका वोट कोई नहीं जोड़ रहा है, जो पहले छठ के समय में नहीं आते थे. संयोग देखिए इस बार कि छठ के समय में इस बार चुनाव हुआ बिहार का, और वो जो प्रवासी
माना जाए कि वो सारे प्रवासी आपके तरफ झुक गए.
बिहार में कभी मरिया पलायन और रोजगार कभी मुद्दा रहा? ये पहला चुनाव है जो अगड़ा पिछड़ा हिंदू मुस्लिम के नाम पर
2020 में जब हम लोग सब जमीन पर थे, तो वहां पर हम लोगों ने भी पूछा था और लोगों ने बताया था कि तेजस्वी यादव ने जो 10 लाख अनाउंस किया है गवर्नमेंट जॉब, उसके वजह से उनके फेवर में मोबिलाइजेशन हुआ था. तो इशू था 2020 में बना था. इस बार आप जरूर ये मानिएगा ज्यादा उस पर चर्चा हुई.
लेट मी क्विकली रिस्पॉन्ड. देखो 2015, you remember the exit poll? Everyone predicted that NDA is forming the government. BJP was decimated to 53 seats. 2020, again everybody predicted NDA की प्रचंड बहुमत की सरकार बन रही है. What happened? 37% vote was divided
सवाल
into
आपसे करूंगी. आपको लगता है कि जो जन स्वराज का कैंपेन था वो फ्लैग हुआ, थोड़ा कम हुआ उसकी पोटेंसी, क्योंकि जो आपके नेता हैं प्रशांत किशोर, उन्होंने चुनाव लड़ने से मना करा, क्योंकि वो एक पिवटल पॉइंट था बहुत सारे आपके वोटर्स के लिए कि अगर वो अपना आपको रेस में नहीं उतारना चाह रहे तो वो आप पे कैसे ट्रस्ट करें. गलती हुई है अगर ये नंबर सही आते हैं तो, सिर्फ अगर ये नंबर सही आते हैं तो.
मैं अब आपको बताता हूं. देखिए, बिल्कुल गलती इसलिए नहीं हुई है कि प्रशांत किशोर मेरे लोन वॉरियर थे. उनके आधार पर, उनके चेहरे के आधार पर, उनके विश्वास के आधार पर हमने 243 सीटें उतारी, और हमारा कोई भी कैंपेन हेलीकॉप्टर से नहीं हुआ. इफ यू हैव नोटिस्ड, he has done 12 to 14 road show every day on the streets of Bihar, and रोज वो रहे. और अगर वो चुनाव लड़ने जाते तो 4 दिन ही सही होता, तो 4 दिन में 48 रोड शो हम नहीं कर पाते, कम से कम जो लिमिटेड टाइम था. एंड देखिए बिहार
I get the point that Prashant Kishor had contested. He would have been focused on one constituency, couldn't have traveled, but it was as a result a one-man show. And we have to see whether in politics that's effective enough, particularly in a complex state like Bihar. First time, first show, वो NTR ने एक बार कर दिया. Arvind Kejriwal was in a much smaller place like Delhi, but in a large state, not easy. So Prashant Kishor, is he still an X factor? We'll wait and see on Friday. But I just want to give Syed Zafar Islam, because he's been putting his hand up, 30 seconds, and then I want to go around the table on the poll of polls. Very quickly, Syed Zafar Islam, what do you wish to say now? Is there anything left to say for you?
See, no. Rajdeep, I heard this Jan Suraj party spokesperson. I just want to tell you that in next 2 days, perhaps you will give them opportunity to speak, because I was also in Bihar, you were also in Bihar. We know exactly what was the receptiveness. And Jan Suraj party will definitely be a non-relevant party after 2 days, but particularly I am talking about Prashant Kishor. Both politically as well as professionally, he will be done and dusted after 14th, because whatever claim he has made so far, all claims like about Nitish Kumar ji, about other things, and he said that 150 plus seats or majority he will come. Nothing is going to happen. NDA is going to form the government. We are going to win the election. We are going to have a landslide.
Sir, let me quote to you what Kashi Ram said many years ago. पहला चुनाव जो होता है हारने के लिए होता है, दूसरा हराने के लिए, और तीसरा जीतने के लिए. Prashant Kishor may want to short circuit that, play T20, whether that will work.
I have better than
no,
this.
we'll wait and see, sir. We'll wait and see.
Okay.
Picture अभी बाकी है.
People understand that.
Beyond the point, exit polls must also have their limits in analysis, because they are not the real polls.
Happy David Chaudhary and Muretha Chaudhary will be done and dusted after this. Ashok Chaudhary will be done and dusted after this. Dilip Jaiswal will be done and dusted after this. We are the first one who made Palayan, Rojgar, Pravas बिहार का मुद्दा. आपका कट्टा, आपका AK-47 कुछ नहीं चला. बटोगे, कटोगे, रटोगे, डटोगे, कुछ नहीं चला इस बिहार में. एंड पूरे बिहार ने ये देखा। ये जन सुराज का विषय है कि आपको 400 से 1100, 125 यूनिट बिजली, सहिया सेविका आंगनबाड़ी जिसको लिटा लिटा के सड़कों पे आप मारा करते थे, उनका मानदेय आपने बढ़ाया। आपने चुनाव के जस्ट पहले 10,000 रुपए दिया। ये हमारा इफेक्ट है, ये जन सुराज का इफेक्ट है।
I've heard all of you. I want to now go round the table because we have just 10 minutes left. I want to thank all my guests for joining us. We'll have plenty more with you. We have a long day ahead on Friday. But I'm going to now look as we go to the poll of polls. You wanted to make a point about Chirag Paswan, Rajat Sethi. What is it that you wanted to say? I just want to make a point that you've been creating this bubble around Prashant Kishor for all these times, while, all respect to his hard work, but there has to be a degree of how much of a bubble you want to create. He's a social media phenomenon.
He's a media phenomenon. We all know his modus operandi, how he has been able to cultivate. But beyond that, he also see this angry young man figure that he wanted to deliberately cultivate, trying to shoot down these the journalists whomsoever he was confronting, has a runway. Fine.
No, but Rajat,
beyond a point in time,
11% in bypolls. Same man got 11% in bypolls.
What I'm trying to say is Chirag Paswan in all your exit polls has greater vote share than Jan Suraj party. Has Chirag Paswan, he's also a youthful leader. Have you given him an adequate space?
Tell you why.
No, you don't want to cultivate
I'll answer your question. Everyone, particularly in media, looks for someone who's new. You see, you're looking for novelty. Prashant Kishor, like him or not, offered a certain novelty to what was seen as otherwise the same bipolarity of Bihar election. He was curiosity. Mr. Chirag Paswan attracted a lot of attention in 2020 because then he was the outsider trying to capitalize on some kind of anti-incumbency. In 2025, it's Prashant. Today, Chirag Paswan is just one small element within the large NDA.
Rajdeep ji, the point is that media is always perpetually, especially Lutyens media, is looking for a white knight. And they want to drool over a white knight. The problem is that the white knight can only carry it so far. You can't literally push the white knight.
No, but Rajat, the limited point, I agree with you to a large extent, limited point. The same party, I agree with you to a large extent, but my limited point, the same party, Jan Suraj, did take 11% in bypolls.
No,
so you did think,
is one thing,
but they did.
See, bypoll, you could have a channelized focus where you could have, up the ante, and he did that. So but that doesn't mean, and of course he did not mean, there are multiple other factors which could have come into those bypolls as well. My point is here, you had a challenger where you could have asked much better question than क्या दिन में चाय कितनी बार पीते हैं उससे भी अच्छे क्वेश्चंस हो सकते थे ठीक है
बहुत सारे पूछे गए
again
बहुत सारे पूछे थे
we are asking now what are your big takeaways from the poll of polls. Rajat Sethi's takeaway seems to be that the Lutyens media, and I don't know, how the media is also branded entirely as Lutyens media.
You very well know it.
I have seen many people who have nothing to do with so-called Lutyens media also gushing over Prashant Kishor. So let's not go over that. He is a media phenomenon, like him or not. You see the traction he gets on social media, it doesn't reflect necessarily in the field, but that's the way it is. That's one of your takeaways.
Yeah, it's a good start.
Sachin, what's your takeaway?
Yeah, 3 quick points. One, 3 months back, people thought that it's going to be a post-Nitish election, despite him being there, which is not the case, as per the exit polls. 2, Nitish Kumar's centrality is not about enthusiasm, but about trust. More people are trusting him. And 3, Bihar is a riverine state and many parts are quarantined between 2 rivers, but still, Nitish Kumar is the confluence whose catchment area is bigger.
अरे वाह, ये तो बड़ी अच्छी one line आपने दे दी. But as you look at those numbers, Maria, let me put you on the spot. Now we projected you as Bihar ki beti. You better get this right. All those numbers I'm showing you, Axis, Matrix, today's Chanakya, Vote Vibe, JVC, P-Mark, which is most likely? Which is most likely? The top end. Give me your prediction. You have looked at the poll of polls. What's your sense? What's your sense?
So I am saying that this is a farewell election to Nitish Kumar. People of Bihar have believe in gratitude, and that's what this is going to be. Nitish Kumar, JDU will be getting more than the BJP, and Tejashwi Yadav, having contested on more number of seats, will be the single largest party. But Rajdeep, the biggest takeaway from this poll will also be that there is an emergence of a new decisive demographic in Bihar, which is the Yuva, which was not the case in previous elections.
To some extent it was in 2020, but you're right. Otherwise, there is this new demographic that hopefully will cut across even caste boundaries, as indeed Mahilas seem to be doing. Yes?
For me, Bihar has been the mother of democracy. Bihar has had,
You're going back to Vaishali now.
So Vaishali, 6th century BC.
Literally.
And it's victory of democracy. So people may say vote chori. People voted and they voted in large numbers. So it's a great victory for democracy. No booth capturing, no violence, no repoll anywhere. So it's a big win for democracy, whoever comes to power.
Preeti.
Well, I'm looking at the figures on the television screen, Rajdeep, and I tend to agree with the Access My India poll, which we've spent maximum time on. I did think on ground that the NDA had an edge. I did think it was a seat-by-seat election. I did think the Yuva factor was huge, and I think I spoke to you about it when we were on ground. What I do feel, though, this is not a wave election. It's a hyper-local seat-by-seat election if these numbers hold of Access My India, and it will come down to organizational strength on ground, which I think the stamina of the Mahagathbandhan is not there to pull it through. If it is going to come down to a hyper-local seat-by-seat election, then the NDA has a clear edge and it has this election in the bag.
Stamina also includes another word, resources. But
organization.
Go ahead. Javed Ansari, your big takeaway.
So a comeback for Nitish Kumar. A lot of us had written him off, so he's come back.
Can I ask you that you've tracked both of them, the brothers Bihari, as my friend late Sankarshan Thakur wrote a wonderful book on. What's the big difference between the brothers Bihari?
It has different chalk and cheese. One is flamboyant, in your face, controversial, and has made a contribution.
Allow him to tell you that story.
Can I just a moment, just to take what Rajat said in a different context. In the 1990s, to be very honest, we all gravitated towards Lalu. We never turned towards Nitish. It was almost as if Nitish was too boring for television. Lalu was exciting television, did these interviews in his Goshala with the cows there, was full, even allowed me once to film him while he was brushing, doing his datur.
You have to ask him his Lalu story. We were a cub reporter in Bihar and he has that fun story to tell.
Controversial, polarizing. Nitish on the other hand, much calmer, more staid, less flamboyant. And after 20 years in power, I can't think of another politician. There is no anti-factor amongst, as far as Nitish is concerned. I had gone to Bihar to attend a marriage 2 weeks before the elections were declared. And this was largely even the Muslims there don't have a bad word for him. They may not vote for him.
True.
They said, itne saal raha BJP ke, but he didn't allow a Yogi Adityanath kind of situation.
As he famously said, you could, kabhi-kabhi rajniti mein tilak bhi lagana padta hai aur topi bhi pehnni padti hai.
So yes.
But that was a Nitish Kumar of another age. I've run out 2 minutes only, Manisha.
So I think a political arena defined by the fact that a deep pro-poor governance over the years sustains a model of democracy which is upheld by the largest contingent of Majdoors in the world. Remember, the woman voter is the wife of the Palayan Majdoor who upholds the home while the man is welding, building, constructing, and making chappals and jutas. And the Yuva Varg is the children of the Palayan Majdoor.
But no party addresses their concerns.
Of course they address it.
6,000 rupees is the per capita income of Bihar even today.
My time to speak.
Yeah, but tell me then.
The girl going to school on the cycle, the Rasoiya Didi, the Asha Didi, they are coming back. It's not the Mahila Varg enchanted by some charismatic leader, but good, deep, pro-poor governance. And remember, political ideology of the socialist matters. It is upheld even in the last innings of Lalu and Nitish.
We will have more on that and see how as we said, 2015 showed when they come together, they're almost unbeatable. Final word, Amitabh Tiwari. Are you confident as a pollster or will you have 2 sleepless nights?
I mean, every pollster and all the politicians are going to have sleepless nights because Bihar has been a very unpredictable terrain for pollsters as well as politicians. See, Nitish is the central theme of this election. Whether it will be a close election like we have predicted at Vote Vibe or Access My India or a landslide like
Chanakya.
Today's Chanakya largely depends upon the lead which the party is going to enjoy amongst the women vote. And if it's a close election, then the 12 friendly fights will come into the picture.
100%.
Okay, we'll wait and see what happens on Friday. If it's a close election, we'll have a very long night. If it is a landslide, we'll be over and done with at 11 a.m. So you decide, do you want a long night or do you want a quick fix done on Friday? Either way, this is your channel to watch. We'll have a variety of voices and we will try and ensure that we give you the most comprehensive coverage, including from all our reporters who've tracked Bihar length and breadth. To all of you there, thanks very much for joining us on this exit poll special. Jai Hind, Namaskar.